right to be here anymore, because according to the current uh, uh, constitutions and executive orders, if you are not a U.S. citizen or in possession of a U.S. passport with the legal right to be on U.S. land, your sovereignty can get you exiled out of this country. The only people that will remain in the United States are people who are willing to um, um, submit to the United States government and all of its goods and bads. So if you cannot advocate the American flag and wave it proudly, set it on fire, your First Amendment right, or whatever the case may be, but do it as an American citizen, according to that executive order that happened last year, you got to be removed from the country. So you will see people you went to college with, people you went to school with, people that you shop with, people that you shop for, people that you work for. They're going to get removed. And while you don't like it, you have to understand that they chose this path. They knew this was going to happen January 1st of 2025. They heard what was going on March 3rd of 2025. They heard what was happening May 15th of 2025. It is January of 2026. As much as y'all don't like what's going on, there is no reason to be out there protesting and picketing people who don't follow the law. Now, I know and it hurts my feelings to even say it, but it's the truth. You should not be out there protesting and picketing for people who are not following the law. While ICE is not doing it right, I'm not condoning them at all. I despise the uniform they wear. But the fact is that while they're not doing it right, the only reason why they have any lawful right to do what they're doing is because everybody else is doing it wrong too. The people who do not belong here has not left, and they don't intend on leaving, so now they have to be forced out. The people who are not involved in that are stopping the people who are signed to put them out from putting them out, which is obstruction. The people who are being detained, the people who are being knocked out, the people who are being shot, killed, hospitalized, leg broke, cars destroyed, because they're getting in the way of the people that are supposed to be put out. And the people who are being detained are not identifying themselves. They're just saying, fuck you, I'm an American. Anybody can say that with a heavy accent. But if you're not waving your birth certificate with a U.S. symbol on it somewhere, you're not really showing them that you belong here. You're just showing them that you're being defiant. And as adults, we are not supposed to be defiant. We are supposed to be cooperative. We are supposed to negotiate. And when we cannot get what we want in life, we are supposed to respect the authority that has more control over our outcome until we can find another authority that has more leverage over our outcome. Because no matter whether or not to a lawsuit or not, you can gun down 5 ICE agents in your house if you want to. Castle doctrine, stand your ground, whatever you want to do. But they will arrest you and put you in jail first, and you will fight for your freedom later. If you let them take you, you might be able to sue them, but they will take you without resistance, or they will take you and beat your ass. If they beat your ass, them taking you unlawfully now becomes them taking you only because you stopped them from taking you. While you believe that that's not a crime, resisting arrest is a crime. Being arrested for being arrested is a crime. It's fucking stupid, but that's the way the law works. So in order for you to not have unnecessary violence occur to you, 5 ICE agents rush you, I'm going to tell you the same shit that the Black Panther Party used to do when they was killing black folks earlier in this history. Half of y'all might have to strip down so that y'all ain't got no ability for them to lie and say that you had a gun on you, so that they'll be killing a naked person. The rest of y'all need to get to the ground and put yourself in the hog tie position and let them easily knee on the back and handcuff you and take you wherever they're going to take you, because it is safer for you to get arrested without resistance than it is for you to get shot to death standing up for what you believe in. I firmly believe that you are supposed to do what you know is right first. and foremost. Stand up for what you believe in by any means necessary. But that is after you do what you know is right, first and foremost. Okay? And in order for you to do what you know is right, the first thing you have to do, which is what this show is all about, is educate yourself with what you have the lawful right to do. And when you are faced with people who have more authority than you over your situation and they don't abide by the laws that they are required to enforce, you still have a responsibility under the laws to decide which actions you're going to take, the ones that will negatively impact your situation and make it worse and lead you to a loss of life, or the decisions to allow your rights to be violated so that you can live to see another day and take the legal action that is necessary to get you justice for your injustice after the fact. Or do like Steven said, stay out of the way. I am not going anywhere ICE agents exist. And when ICE agents come to my neighborhood, I'm not going outside. Everything gets delivered to the door. And when ICE agents are standing on my porch, I'm not coming to the door. Now, they have to have a warrant to enter the house. If I don't open the door, since nobody that lives with me is violating a constitutional requirement, they have no legal reason to come into my house. Whatever happens inside of my house is going to be between me and them and the federal court. But I will not give them a reason by opening the door. I'm not going to open the door to see who's there. If I can't see them through the peephole, if I can't see them on the surveillance cameras, I'm going to talk to them through the door, talk to them through the wall. Who is this? What do you want? Nobody's here that's not an American. No, I can't give you nothing through the door. I don't have that. I don't have that capabilities. I don't have a mail slot to slide documentation through the door. But until the United States government says door-to-door knocking to check passports and IDs, when that becomes a thing, guess what has to happen? You see ICE on the block, flag them down like the ice cream man. Hey, I stay over there. This is my passport. Don't nobody else live with me, and go back inside. But if you don't do it right, you put yourself in a position to get your ass whooped unnecessarily or potentially killed. And if you live through it, you're going to have felony charges. You might have treason charges, even if they get reduced sentence or deferred sentence. Your arrest record is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. Your arrest record will interfere with your ability to get good jobs. Your arrest record will interfere with your ability to get good housing. Your arrest record will impact your ability to travel to other countries. Your life will be compromised because 5 people with a bad attitude made the wrong decision on your sidewalk. And I teach you guys on the show on a regular basis that you are responsible for the things that you are in control of, and you are also responsible for the actions and behaviors of the people around you. So it is important for you to remove yourself from situations that, especially ones that don't involve you, where the people around you are not performing the way they're supposed to perform. That's all I got to say about that. I just wanted to touch base on that real quick before we get started with today's topic. Raw Logic talked about how he bought 20 or 29 ounces of silver at $100 an ounce, talking about how silver is exploding. Yeah, that's a good idea. You should probably put some effort into extra effort into buying silver, because silver is cheaper than gold by the ounce. And when silver starts revaluating itself, getting closer to the value of gold, you will find yourself making more money per ounce off of silver than what you will be making more money per ounce off of gold. Special shout out to Battle Zone. He said, message just did 10 years. Absolutely right. It's, bro, the fact is that there's certain decisions that we can make right now that we're going to think, oh, yeah, I showed that MFer, blah, 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 blah. And then, 5-10 years down the line, people are looking down on you for decisions that you made back in the day. You could get arrested for something that got out of your control, and because you got arrested, your future is destroyed. There are certain situations where you can expunge some of these things that prevents it from interfering with your ability to get employment and ability to get housing, but you can only expunge maybe one or five or whatever things, depending on the chain of events and how close together the arrest and the charges are. Uh, and once you get those things expunged, you can't get anything else expunged. So you cannot repetitively run to the court and get shit taken off your record. A lot of stuff that was egregious actions that were completely unfair to you, the state prosecutor just had it removed, and that's why you can't find it. The court had it removed without you even knowing about it because they knew that you shouldn't have gone through that. But the situations that you kind of put yourself there, and it's still sitting on your background check, it's sitting there because you kind of put yourself in that situation. Even though you weren't guilty, you kind of put yourself in that situation. So you can only expunge one of those situations, maybe two, and all the charges attached to it off of your record. But it doesn't change the fact that you got to wait 5 years after the arrest before you can make that change. So it does not help you to rebel against a nation the way you're rebelling, because you're rebelling by going out there with cell phones and cursing at people with guns. Is that six counts aggravated assault, and it cost me everything? Yeah, yeah. And the fact is that you can't go out there with cell phones and picket signs. You can't go out there like the Black Panther Party, all reckless, pointing guns at police, talking about some you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other. If there were 100,000 Americans in any one city with their guns pointed directly at the ground, standing in front of two vehicles with 10 ICE agents in it, they would have more respect when they communicate with you people. But they're still going to do their jobs. They're still going to ask for IDs. You still have to show them. And if you refuse to, they still have the right to take you, but they're not going to beat your ass because you might shoot them. It's not going to stop them from coming to get the people who don't belong here, and it's not going to stop them from taking the people who refuse to prove that they're an American citizen. It will just force them to show you more respect, because if they've got assault rifles and riot spray and all you have is a whistle and a cell phone, you're going to be the next Trayvon Martin. They're going to knock all the Skittles out of your ass. But if y'all out there and y'all are literally going to protect the innocent people from being got, one, y'all are going to teach each other that when you see them red and blue lights, get the fuck out the way. All right? I don't understand. Half of y'all listen to the whole Carter 3 album. Y'all don't remember The Block is Hot? What that man said. That man said that in the early 90s. When them boys showed up, everybody ran. What he said, I dropped my weed. All that. When the boys left, we all came back. That's what we was doing in the 90s. When the lawman showed up, everybody disappeared. It was a ghost town when the police showed up. When these federal agents show up, y'all should not have a street full of 75, 80,000 people in the road, stopping them from driving to their location, which is obstruction, standing in front of a government vehicle. The streets should be empty. There should be no cars on the road. There should be nobody outside. And whoever's house they are about to break in, they should have a warrant for that house. And it shouldn't be your house. So if y'all really think about it, a lot of y'all getting y'all ass whooped because y'all just didn't put y'all thinking caps on before y'all went outside. They say, I agree with you. We're moving in a certain direction. Just go with the flow and protest peacefully. And if you are arrested, be respectful and have your day in court. Yeah, that's probably the safest thing for y'all to do, because otherwise, y'all not gonna live to see 2027. Y'all not gonna finish the rest of the year. Y'all not, and then if you do, the criminal charges that y'all get, y'all are gonna ruin your lives. You're not gonna be able to do as much stuff. How would you feel to be on a no-fly zone, because no-fly list, because you got put on a terrorist list because you were part of the protesters that were out there. You know what I mean? Even though you didn't do nothing, if you was if you was out there with the people who were throwing bricks in the windshields of the feds, you this is going to be the other problem that we have. And after this, I'm going to get started with today's information for the show. Donald Trump made it a capital crime to take the life of a law enforcement agent, federal agent of any kind, police officer, ICE agent, a Fed, FBI, CIA, ATF, whatever the case may be, if by accident or on purpose, any actions performed in the moment leads to the life lost of a federal agent, you and everybody that they can catch in the location of that life lost will be accused of conspiracy to or accessory to the life lost of a federal agent, where even though you was doing nothing but holding your cell phone and watching it happen, you could be involved in a capital crime where you will be facing the death penalty. Because these guys, they could have shot themselves by accident fighting with one of y'all on the ice. But until they prove that, you're going to be on death row for that. Y'all need to be careful out there with what y'all doing, because some shit is unnecessary. One of the things, and when I start getting into this stuff today about how to make better decisions as men, rules to stand on with your masculinity, we have a right to do a lot of things in this country that a lot of other countries you don't have the right to do. But one of the problems that we forget is that we have to ask ourselves, should we? Your Second Amendment right allows you to be in a Chipotle with 2 AK-47s and a bazooka. But do you really have to do that? You can carry a little pistol in there. You don't need to be up in there with long-ass firearms where you got to hit somebody in the head to get the thing off your back. We have the right to do a lot of stuff. But we have to choose when is it appropriate for us to do that. So while you have the First Amendment right to protest, and while you have the First Amendment right to record, and while you have the First Amendment right to curse out federal agents, do you really need to? Is that what your day is supposed to be about right now? And the outcome of that, do you really want to accept that outcome? Is that what city is the Chipotle in? It don't matter what city the Chipotle in, because the constitutional carry is nationwide now. And constitutional carry, while there are some states that do not allow open carry unless you're going fishing or hunting or stuff, there are states that allow open carry. Regardless of whether or not the state allows open carry, you should be at least partially carrying. You should have it either concealed completely or on your hip, in your pocket, with a shirt or a coat or something covering it, so that people cannot immediately observe it as you walk through the street. Practice your draw so that you can quick draw through the clothing, but it should be partially concealed to some degree, and you take it wherever you got to go. Even though you have the right to walk around with it in your hand, it is perceived as the first step in taking action against somebody when the firearm is in your hand. So you should never have the firearm in your hand unless you're planning on using it. So while it is not in use, it should be in a holster of some kind. And if it's too big to be in a holster, it should probably be in a briefcase of some kind, because you're not planning on using it right now. Now, that's not your constitutional right. Your right is to have it in your hand with the finger on the trigger as you go wherever you want to go. But do you really need to? Right? So then when you see the police following these folks and taking their guns and disassembling their guns, which they have the legal right to do, they're pointing guns at you because they don't know if you're going to kill yourself and everybody in the neighborhood, or if you're just going to get some fish from the local whatever. The fact is that they're going to respond as if you're not acting with good intentions, and you have to de-escalate it by showing them that you have good intentions. But you got to de-escalate it at gunpoint. You shouldn't put yourself in that situation. He said, Would rights come? Yeah, with rights would come specific responsibilities. Uh, he says, and with rights come rewards as well as penalties. Yeah. With so yes, with your rights will come all kinds of responsibilities, and with those responsibilities will come both rewards and penalties for taking responsibility. So if you do what you should be doing in the moment, you should get rewarded. If you don't do what you're supposed to do in the moment, you will get penalized for that. And you have to decide, do I want the worst case scenario in this situation, or do I want the best case scenario in this situation? And then make your decisions accordingly. You can stand in a Taco Bell and demand a refund because you didn't get the food that you ordered, but you can't stand in a bank at gunpoint demanding your withdrawal from your own bank account. There's certain things you can do and there's certain things that you can't do. So y'all just got to make better decisions here in 2026. Now, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started with uh, the topic of today. Because the old rules of dating say the man always pays, right? We've always had this discussion. What about the new rules? They say that a fast track to resentment and an empty wallet. You're probably wasting money on dating, and it is not even making you more attractive because you're just throwing money at these females for no reason. In tonight's show, I'm going to share with you guys the new rules for dating as a financially savvy man that will not only save you thousands of dollars, but will actually help you build a stronger, more genuine relationship to give you unshakable peace of mind in your relationships. And really and truly, guys, we have to start paying attention to this because I was covering some of this yesterday when we were discussing, when I had a few of the women here. We had Claudia, we had Cardinal Rules. We had Nicole in here. The ladies that was here, I got everybody's name right this time. We had the ladies here yesterday, and I was telling them about how if the women focused on the character of the man instead of the amount of money he's paying for her, that she could determine if he makes bad decisions or not. Because if she trusts his judgment because she tested that first instead of testing the length of his wallet or the full extent of his bank account, she can trust him to make the decisions that she would need to make so that they can become financially successful. I've covered over the past few weeks ways that a couple can come together and live off of one income between the two incomes or more that they have, where the other half of the income that comes into the house could be directly invested into high interest accounts so that they can make more money, make money for themselves over a period of time where in 10 years they can make almost $1 million and in 20 years they can make almost $2 million. It is possible where two people making 50,000 a year or less can come together at an average 92,000 a year combined income and make themselves millionaires by putting 40,000 a year away, living on a $52,000 a year lifestyle, where everybody's needs are met under that $52,000, where your portfolio could pay dividends to the magnitude of covering 100% or even 200% of your standard of living. It is possible. So you don't have to be a $100,000 a year man to get you a good woman. You have to get a woman that is paying attention to what you're capable of. And as a man, instead of chasing sex, you have to be paying attention to her capabilities to perform with the intent to succeed as a unit, not as an individual. So let's paint a picture here. See if this sounds familiar to you guys. You meet a woman, you're interested, you ask her out, she's shutting you down. I got a boyfriend, I'm not interested, I don't like you. You convince her. She finally agrees, right? You plan this nice evening. You pick a cool spot, and when the bill comes, you grab it without a second thought. That's what gentlemen are supposed to do, right? That first date leads to a second. Again, you pay. Then the third, you pay again. With each check and each date, you're looking at a larger and larger cost. The unspoken expectations are solidified. You are the provider of the dating experience, even though you're not benefiting from the dating experience. And I've actually painted you guys this picture. This picture is deep because from the moment that you see the girl from across the room, from across the street, from down the block, where you are attracted to her, you spend all of your money and use most of your resources to convince her to stay. Not even like you, just stay, right? You have to track her down, feed her a few lines, try to get her not to walk off, offer her an expensive activity tomorrow so that she can talk to you after today. Then you have to take her on an expensive activity tomorrow, and you have to keep doing that, and then get her to not benefit, but agree to commit to the standard that you've been offering in the beginning of the relationship. Then reality sets in and y'all start having to pull y'all money together, but you're going to be primarily giving all of the money that you don't spend on bills to her to continue to maintain the expectation where you ultimately, from the day you meet her until the day you die, or from the day you meet her until the day you divorce, are spending money to convince her to stay, even with the engagement. Throughout the relationship, you're paying for her standard of living. You paid for the dates in the beginning. You're paying for her standard of living now. You're going to ultimately pay for the engagement ring, which is usually a 30-year income. Then you're going to pay for the wedding because parents on either the mother or the father side don't pay for weddings anymore. So the husband pays for the wedding. It's not a gift from the daughter's father. It's not a gift from your father. It is your financial responsibility, not your wife. Your wife doesn't pay for anything. She just goes along for the ride. And then after y'all get married, you're paying for everything because you're the husband. And if y'all get divorced, she gets alimony, child support, probably takes a house and a car. But if y'all don't get divorced and you die, whatever you did not use before you die, she gets all of that. This makes no sense. And a lot of men are retreating out of dating because there is no financial benefit for it. And there's a large debate over social media as to why women feel so entitled to experience this type of scenario without ever coming up with a solution. But something else is happening here quietly in the background because a little voice in your head starts to ask questions. Does she even appreciate this? Does she even notice what I'm doing? Would she be here if I suggested just go for a walk instead of this five-star restaurant? Y'all notice how they had a lot of girls flipping out over the Cheesecake Factory. I love fucking cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake, might I add. She don't want to go to a place that's it don't got to be the first place we go, but I mean, it damn sure it could be one of the places we go. You start to feel subtle creeping resentment towards every girl that you date. And it's a toxic feeling because it is not really her fault. You never set a different expectation, but it's not your fault either because you were just following the script society wrote for you. Men are always expected to protect and provide for women. Women believe that it is the man's responsibility to pay for the date because that's the way it's always been. Not because it's beneficial for the woman or beneficial for the man. Yeah, it is beneficial for the woman because she gets free entertainment. But when it comes down to a woman looking for long-term commitment, I brought it to all the women's attention over the past few days, and they're like, oh shit, I make a lot of sense with this. If you meet a man and this man doesn't know who you are and he's willing to spend $500 on you, you found a man that's willing to waste money. You found a man that's willing to waste money. He doesn't know you from a hole in the ground. And he's willing to buy you drinks. He's willing to buy you dinner. He's willing to buy you gifts. He doesn't know what your middle name is. If he knows where you stay because he picked you up and he don't remember it, it put it in his GPS. You have to think about this. If that's the kind of man he was when he met you, what makes you think he's not going to spend money on strangers while you're dating him? Now, the problem with this dynamic is that a lot of relationships are financial arguments because women will, make sure y'all like and subscribe as we go through this. Women will expect the money to go to a certain thing. And then sometimes if the women aren't spending the money on stuff like buying things on Amazon or whatever the case may be, you have men drinks on the house at the bar, paying for the activity for the fellas. Some guys have an entourage that hang out with him because he's paying for all the guys in the group. You can determine what kind of financial decision-making skills that your man have instead of forcing him to impress you with a five-star restaurant. and either pay for the date yourself so that you can get to know who he is and what he has to offer, what kind of financial ambitions he has, or limit his spending or limit your expectations so that his limited spending doesn't offend you. Because if he's willing to keep this date under $10, he ain't wasting no money on those strangers. And that goes to show you what kind of man you, because the kind of man that's willing to spend $500 or $800 on you on the first night, he don't know who you are. It's the kind of man that's willing to throw $1,000 in the air in the club and let strangers pick it up off the floor, because he's too entitled to pick his money back up off the damn floor. But that's financially wasteful. You understand? The Battle Zone says, I have been in that space 3 times and divorced. Look, this silent resentment trap has millions of men that fall into it. This is going to be where your finances are going to get stressed. Your peace of mind is going to evaporate, and you're going to start seeing dating through transactional lenses. And I have said plenty of times before that it makes it easier for the Riley theory. It makes it easier for men to date if we kept it transactional. Whatever we want out of the deal for however much money she wants for it out of the deal. It leads to back page to OnlyFans, escorts, all this other stuff, because men desire sex and women desire money. But and that's also actually what the Western culture has turned into. But when you're looking for a long-term partnership, transactional is not beneficial, because y'all don't have long-term goals. Y'all have instant gratification right now. Give me X number of dollars for my hair, and you can turn me sideways tomorrow. You have to understand. You question her motives. You're wondering if she likes you for who you are, or if she likes you for what you can provide to her. The more financially successful you have, the more this becomes a concern. This dynamic is going to poison a potential relationship before it can even grow. Research consistently shows that financial stress is directly linked to lower relationship satisfaction and can lead to more negative perceptions of partners' behavior. So you will misinterpret your partner's behavior more negatively because of your lack of satisfaction in the relationship. But this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. This isn't a situation where I'm saying, oh, your girlfriend ain't shit. No, bro, you're fucking up your own situation. You're going to feel used, so you act resentfully, which makes the relationship worse. But what if there was a different way to go about doing things? What if you could date with confidence, build a real connection, and protect your financial future all at the same time? There is. It involves tossing out that old book, because that is an outdated script. Then you want to adopt a new set of rules. These aren't rules about being cheap. They're rules about being smart, intentional, and value oriented. We're not chasing chicks that overly sexualized, the gorilla fit, the skin tight. You got the print in the front, the crack in the back, the cleavage on top. You've got more skin exposed to skin covered up. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about value oriented. So ladies, y'all got to pay attention to this, because this is going to be designed to build respect and filter for true compatibility, making sure that you're building a partnership, not just funding an audition, of which you're the one auditioning. How much money can I spend? Got to change that behavior. Now, this is going to be a playbook for the financially savvy man. So if you're not yet a financially savvy man, you'll become one today. The old book is full of broken rules that are passed down for generations, which is a man's value is directly tied to his wallet. And every man on the show today can agree that that's how we're being treated by the ladies. He has to prove his worth by impressing a woman with his ability to spend money. That's what we're experiencing in the the dating world right now. And the more that man spends, the more desirable that man will be to the woman or women that he's spending money on. Now, this is the logic from the old school that leads guys to lease cars that they can't afford and buy rounds of drinks for women that they just met. It's a game of financial peacocking, and it's a losing game. The new rule is simple, but it's very profound. Your value is your character, your ambition, and even your humor, and especially your integrity. Your money is a tool, it is not your identity. So think about it. Are you the most interesting, charismatic man that you know, or just the one with the most money? Or are you the one with compelling stories, unique hobbies, and a clear sense of purpose with a passion for life? When you lead with your wallet, you're implicitly telling women the most interesting thing about me is my money. Now, shoe on the other foot, ladies. Men on a regular basis are starting to ask women what do they bring to the table, and a lot of women are pissed off about that. And it myself, what do you expect me to bring? I look cute. I did my hair. Da, 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 da. But and then these are the same women that complain, oh, he took me out on a couple dates, he slept with me, and then he moved on. Women have forgotten that in relationships, the same way a man is supposed to prove himself to the woman to show his value to her, she has a responsibility on the early onset of the relationship to prove her value to him. That's part of equality. Now, the complication we have with this is that women do not have to perform. Men will pay for the presence of the women. Now, at some point, women will provide sex to the men, but let's be honest, ladies, that's not valuable to a successful relationship. It's a foundational piece of it, but you cannot tell me that you're going to sleep with this guy for 20 years because you're sleeping with this guy for 20 years. There's more to your relationship than what happens in the bedroom for 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 45 minutes if you're taking a blue pill. After that, you still got 23 plus hours in a day where you guys have to communicate with one another, negotiate. You guys have to plan stuff, save and invest for things. So somebody's going to be buying whatever needs to be bought. The other one is going to be trying to preserve resources. Then when kids come involved, your ethical behavior versus your partner's ethical behavior, your moral backgrounds, your religious beliefs, all of these things come into place. Whether or not you want your child to take a time out or take an ass whooping, all of this stuff comes into place once y'all get out of the bathroom. Once the sex is done, the rest of your relationship still needs to be addressed. So when women project themselves overly sexualized so that the man can open his wallet and spend all of his money on the girl because the only thing he's thinking about is having sex with the girl and the only thing she's thinking about is how much money he's spending, both people are fucking up because he is not finding value in her. He's just trying to see how much it costs to sleep with her. She's not finding value in him. She's trying to find out how much money she can get out of him without committing. Transactional. And in doing this, fellas, you're training her to see you as a resource first and a person second. You'll find yourself with these females that are in a financial bind when you first meet them. They're cute. You just offered to buy her things. You become a utility. Cover a cell phone bill, you help her out with a storage unit, give her a ride, don't accept gas money from her. She's willing to pay it. You just won't accept the gas money from her. You become a utility. You give her a number. If she ever needs a ride from you again, she can call you. Now she's getting free rides from you because you did that. She didn't do that. She didn't set you up. You set yourself up. And in these situations, you might find yourself duty bound to this woman, duty bound to her needs because you put yourself there. She didn't trick you and put you in a friend zone. You voluntarily signed up for it. And then at some point, y'all might start sleeping together. It just happened. It doesn't matter if she got you drunk, you got her drunk, she was vulnerable, you was vulnerable, whatever the case may be, it just happened. And then y'all just start, the sex might have been good, and then y'all just start having sex on a regular basis. And because we like familiarity, we would prefer to have sex with the same person than to have sex with a bunch of different people. And guess what? Because you were a utility to her, y'all ended up in a relationship because you went from being a utility to being a utility that also has sex with her. You don't know how the relationship started, but it probably started because she needed a ride, she needed bus fare, she needed a bill paid, she couldn't afford to pay her rent. You let her move into your house. Then you thought that because y'all were living together, she looks hot when she sleeps, you're gonna sleep with her while she sleeps, and then that's gonna turn into something. And now y'all got kids, and now you got an 18-year responsibility, and you're in a position where you sold yourself out. She didn't want you from the beginning. It just benefited her, but you did that. You see what I'm saying? And we also have these, and then you got some guys that are bitter about it. You put yourself in that situation, and then you mad because y'all have a platonic, well, you don't have a platonic relationship. You have a relationship that is not built on emotional stability. You have a relationship built on convenience. And because you have a relationship built on convenience, what happens is those are the relationships that are the most unstable. Those are the relationships that will end without an argument. Those are the relationships that will end without chaos. This just doesn't work anymore. She likes this other guy now. You're heartbroken. She never liked you, but you put yourself in that situation. You were a utility. You grew feelings off of your utility. You got sex off of your utility. She didn't want you, but it subsidizes her income. Now, the guy that she wants, she's going to try to go after that. Whether or not she gets it doesn't change the fact that you feel betrayed. Now you're going to have resentment towards the next woman. Y'all got to cut this shit out. This is a critical mistake. One dating coach for successful men tells a story of a client, a plastic surgeon, who would introduce himself by handing women his business card and saying, "I'm a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon." It would almost never work. Why? Because he's leading with status instead of self, signaling a deep insecurity, an assumption that his personality alone wasn't enough. The moment you tie your self-worth to your financial performance, you put yourself in a dangerous emotional roller coaster. Get a raise, you feel worthy. Have a bad month, you feel unworthy. This makes your confidence fragile and dependent on external validation. A truly confident man's self-worth is internal. It comes from his character, resilience, and the life he has built. So how do you apply that new rule? You make conscious shifts to lead with you. Instead of asking, what's the most impressive restaurant I can take her to? Ask, what's an experience we could share that would let us actually get to know each other? And before we go any further, I've actually been thinking about this. Y'all know the balloon popping things where they be asking each other questions and they be speculating and hypothetical this, that's, and the thirds. I sat there and I thought, you know what the best date would be, the best first date? And it ain't even, it's not really trying to go expensive, but it's not going to be really all that cheap when you start thinking about it. But it's reasonable though. Think about what your favorite meal was when you were a child. Think about, ask her what her favorite meal was when she was a child. Now, how do you make that one meal? That's the date. We're going to look up the recipe. We're going to go to the store together and get the groceries. Then we're going to go back to whoever's house, whether it's your house or my house, and we're going to make these meals together. Your favorite meal and my favorite meal too. This is going to give you an entire day to get to know each other. You're going to be talking about your likes and dislikes. You're going to be talking about your allergies. You're going to decide whether or not you want alcohol or non-alcohol. You're going to be able to decide if you like sweets or no sweets. You're going to really get to know each other. Then you're also going to be able to get to understand the mindset of the person that you're with. Because if you got a woman that wants to show her worth, she's going to offer to pay for the groceries just to make sure that she's investing in a man that's responsible. Then if it doesn't matter if she wants to go half, y'all can split it. It doesn't matter. You can offer to pay for the whole thing. It doesn't matter. But if she just comes out of nowhere, like, don't worry about it, I got it, you know that you've got one that's determined to see if this relationship is going to work. She's showing you that she's going to invest in this relationship. Now, when you get back to the house, whoever house, she's able to note that you're not just after sex because you're going to focus on making food. Then y'all are going to make the food. Y'all are going to eat the food. And you should remove yourself from the house after that. The goal is not to get laid here. The goal is to find out what kind of person she is. But if you're in the kitchen and y'all are trying to cook together, you're going to be able to determine if she wants to leave the relationship or if she's going to allow you to leave. Because if she's telling you how to cook the food and she's telling you what to do and no, do it her way, you know that she's going to be a bossy girlfriend. If she's willing to follow instructions and she's willing to help and get in there wherever she can fit in, you know that she's going to be a supporter. She's going to support your decisions. You're able to analyze a person's behavior patterns when you put them in a task. Then you're able to determine how well she's willing to cooperate. You give an instruction, is she going to follow it? Ladies, y'all can test him in too, because after he gives you an instruction and you do something for him, you can provide him with some guidance and see if he does it. This works both ways. You don't have to boss him around, but you could always throw it up like, okay, I'll do the onions, but you do the carrots. He's not cutting the carrots the way you would prefer your carrots. And oh, hold on, let me show you how my mama used to cut the carrots. She used to cut the carrots like this. That's how I like them. That's it. And then see if he does it. See if he tries to do it. And the dynamic is that endeavor, especially if you're thinking about something from back when you was a kid, it's not going to be steak and lobster. It's not going to be a surf and turf scenario. When you was a child, it was some fucking macaroni and cheese, spaghetti and meatballs. It was mashed potatoes and gravy. It's probably going to be a $10 or $15 meal that y'all can make together. And if you made one and she made one, it probably might cost, because like I would do gumbo. Gumbo's like $45, but this other stuff might be $20, $30 to make. And if you put everybody's meal together, you probably would have like $80 or $90 to make. But what you would also have is leftovers. And y'all can box up whatever y'all like out of everything. And then you can take some of the stuff home. So she got groceries, you got groceries, y'all made something out of the deal. That is a good first date, in my opinion. And it shows longevity. He said, question, how do I get past this stage of resentment? We're going to get to that today. But the first thing that you have to understand, so the first of all, your stage of resentment is going to only be there because you're still clinging to the past. You got 3 ex-wives, you hate women. You love women, but you hate them. Soon as she starts talking back, you pissed off. Soon as she starts talking down to you, soon as she starts getting a little too loud, soon as she starts getting a little bit too assertive, you red flags all the way around. You trigger. The first thing you have to do is detach yourself emotionally from your past experiences. That's going to be the first thing you have to do. That does not mean to forget how you were treated by the women that you were involved with, but you do have to analyze your involvement. You have to analyze what you did and what you did not do, what you should have done that you didn't do, what you should not have done that you did do that led to the divorces. It wasn't all on the women that got divorced. You played a role in each one of your divorces, because one thing that you can say, that the common factor in the 3 divorces that you experienced was you. So you need to fix what you fucked up in them 3 marriages. If you focus on doing it right, getting better at it, and let go of how bad women treated you in the past, you can now start standing on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior, which will put you in a position where you are recognizing a woman that isn't qualified for you, and you're not going to hold resentment for her because you're just going to let her go. If your first date is some bologna sandwiches on the beach, if your first date is wine and cheese at the local park and she ain't satisfied with that, that's okay. I'm going to go to the park. I'm going to eat this cheese and drink this wine. If you don't come, it's up to you. If she don't show up, she wasn't meant for you. You don't have to harbor resentment for that. One of the other things I want to tell guys when you start talking about first dates, you should not be begging her to go somewhere with you where you're propositioning her to do whatever it is that she wants. You want to know who she is. It doesn't matter what the fuck she wants. No respect, no disrespect to the ladies. The fact is, as a man, you should have already had plans for your life, and you're going to include her in it. So if you was already planning on going to a restaurant this weekend, let's say you wanted to go to Olive Garden, you was going to go anyway. So you say, hey, I got the weekend off. I was planning to go to Olive Garden. Do you want to join me? I'm not feeling Olive Garden. All right. Well, let me know if you change your mind. That's the end of the conversation. Why? Because you're going to Olive Garden. Don't matter if she goes. If you fold on your intentions, well, what do you want to do? I'll take you wherever you want to go. I don't care where you want to go right now because I don't know you. I want to get to know you so that I can start caring about where you want to go. But you'll tell me that you like Chick-fil-A. And when you tell me you like Chick-fil-A, you don't got to ask me if you can go to Chick-fil-A. I shouldn't have to ask you if you want Chick-fil-A. I should just take you to Chick-fil-A because you told me you like Chick-fil-A. Plain and simple. So the resentment is only there because you're using your money and you're pissed off that they're going to take advantage of it. And the older you get, the younger she gets, the quicker she's going to take advantage of you offering money. You're going to get pissed off when you ask them what they want and they say steak and lobster. So why put the choice in her hands? Why give her the opportunity to take advantage of you? Why not set the limit and say, hey, let's literally meet up our first date on a cup of coffee. I'll meet you at a Starbucks. We can have some McDonald's coffee at breakfast time. We can go to Dunkin' Donuts and get us a donut and some coffee. And if she says no to that, fuck her. She ain't important because you don't know her yet. He said, to be honest, in the kitchen, she can leave because I can't cook to save my life. If she is bossy, that's a red flag. It's all in how she goes about it. But Steven, you don't have to know. First of all, you're a grown-ass man, Steven. You're working on a job where your boss told you what to do to fulfill the job. So picture this. As a grown-ass man, you follow instructions. As a grown-ass man, you can read the recipe. The story was, look at the recipe, go to the stove, buy the ingredients, go back to the house, follow the recipe. You can be a terrible cook. The goal is not to be the next best chef. Okay? The goal is for y'all to bond together and make a meal together. It don't matter if y'all made a 3-layer cake that was 1 layer tall. It don't matter if y'all made cupcakes that taste like bricks. It don't matter if y'all made brownies and you use salt instead of sugar because they look the same. What matters is that y'all try together. Okay? And if it's bad, y'all can laugh about that if your relationship progresses. If you suck at cooking and you burn water, we understand. If she suck at cooking and she burned the microwave, we understand. If y'all was sitting there cooking on the stove and y'all set fire to the kitchen, we understand. Y'all tried. And the whole purpose of it is that you're bonding. That's what this is about. Working together as a team on the first date, making plans together as a team on the first date, executing those plans together as a team on the first date, and seeing how well the other person will cooperate with team effort on the first date. That sets a precedent for the rest of the relationship. It ain't got shit to do with whether or not the food tastes good or not. Because let's be honest, fellas, you want the woman to cook for you. If she is a bad cook, you're going to eat that shit, no matter how much it tastes like charcoal, no matter how burned it is, no matter how crispy the scrambled eggs are. You're going to eat it because you love her. You're going to eat it and you're going to lie and say it's good. So why do you care if you're a bad chef? Why do you care? This wasn't about you impressing her with your cooking skills. This was about you learning if she will cooperate with you. And ladies, on the flip side, it's about you learning if he will cooperate with you. That's a foundational must. Because if she can't trust your judgment in the first 5 dates, then y'all are going to be arguing about important decisions in a relationship. Men want to lead, women want men to lead. But if a woman gets a man because he spends money, she doesn't get a man because he's a good decision maker. And the problem with that is that she knows he doesn't make good decisions with money because he wasted money on her when he first got with her. She don't trust his judgment. Now every time a financial decision comes up, she takes over. Not because she's bitch, not because she's bossy, because she knows that you don't make financial decisions. You'll spend all your money on your Xbox. You'll spend all your money on your Hellcat. You'll spend all your money on the $30,000 worth of gold chains around your neck. So she's not going to give you an opportunity to make a bad decision with the money. She's going to make a good decision for you because she doesn't trust your judgment. Instead of chasing a man that's willing to spend a lot of money on her, she should first find a man that makes good decisions that she can trust. You can figure that out on a date where y'all are working together to make dinner. You can figure that out. Does he pay attention? I'm allergic to soy and celery. Is he going to go and buy teriyaki sauce? I got an ulcer. I'm not supposed. My doctor said I can't eat spicy food. Is he going to go get some spicy nachos and shit? Does he care about my health? I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. Is he going to buy something fattening or is he going to try to buy something more healthy? You can tell what kind of person you got if they're selfish, if they're only paying attention to themselves, or if they're going to be compassionate in a relationship and they're going to prioritize you without having to spend $2,000 on a night or having to sleep with the guy because he spent $800 on a night. Because the only thing that you learn from that is he's willing to spend money and you're willing to put out. So fellas, you guys have to focus on being an interesting person, not just a financially successful one. You want to talk about that weird book that you just read, the new skill you're trying to learn, that trip you've been saving for however long, or the passion project that keeps you up at night. And ladies, while y'all all swear to God that y'all love to travel, but y'all only do ladies night at the local watering hole where ladies get in free and free drinks until midnight. If y'all really wanted to go on a special trip to a special country, or not just a special country, any country, how much money have you put towards going on that trip? What country are you trying to go to? You know, how long you plan on staying there? Are you going to sell all of your stuff and move there for a year, or are you going to pay for your standard of living here while you go over there and go and live your life? What are you going to do for employment during that time? Are you going to quit your job, or are you going to use all of your vacation time? These are interesting questions, because if you've got a woman that is ambitious about international travel and she's investing in her own international travel, you're interested in international travel too. You just can't afford that shit. You find a woman that has a budget and you can match that budget and y'all can come together and shit, y'all can go to a different country once a year and have a healthy relationship where she's not using you for your money. Y'all plan this together. These are the things that build real connections. Here's an analogy. Think of yourself as a company. And I know women hate when I tell y'all this, but a great company isn't just its stock price. It has a powerful mission, a unique culture, and a clear vision. That's your character, your values, and your ambition. The stock price is your income, your net worth. It's just a matrix. It's going to fluctuate, but the core mission remains the same. So you don't sell her your stock price. You sell her on your mission. A woman who's invested in your mission will be there whether your stock is up or your stock is down. And that's the road dog that we looking for. That's the ride or die chick that we're looking for. The one that's going to be there for better and for worse. We want the one, we know they're going to be there for the better. We want to know if they're going to be there for the worse. We can't guarantee she's going to be there for the worse because we only show them the better. We put our best foot forward and we try to keep getting better, not ever allowing ourselves to fall back on our worst foot. But the moment we slip and then she leaves us for a man that's got better footing, we hate her for that. If you don't find out if she's there for your mission, you are doubling down on your stock until your stock falls. A woman who only cares about the stock price will sell her shares the moment the market dips. Okay? So the old rule, born from insecurity and bad rom-coms, is that you have to go big on the first few dates. Lavish everything. You got to impress her. You got to wow her. You have to Aladdin magic carpet ride her. You have to pull out all the stops with a fancy 3-course dinner to show you are serious as a contender to date her. This sets a dangerous precedent. You're starting the relationship with a financial lie because you can't afford that shit on a regular basis in the first place. You're creating a lifestyle and expectations that you may not be able to or even want to maintain. Now, the new rule is date in a way that you can sustain and afford and genuinely enjoy without financial anxiety. This is how you get rid of your resentment right here. And this isn't being cheap. It's about being authentic. So, like, for example, when I told you think about something you ain't had since you was a kid. Now, keep in mind, just the other day, I made myself some boneless spare ribs because I felt like it. So y'all know the boneless spare ribs from the China Walk. I done made myself some boneless spare. So you know I can throw down. But from my childhood, I've always wanted a Rice Krispie treat. That ain't that hard to do, but it's hard to do. You got to get you some marshmallows. You got to go get your 2-3 boxes of Rice Krispies. There's quite a few other ingredients involved, but it shouldn't cost you more than $25-$30. But baking Rice Krispie treat, every drug dealer knows how to do it because they put the weed into the Rice Krispie treats. But baking Rice Krispie treats for the average person, a real challenge. But if my craving is a Rice Krispie treat and her craving might be this deviled egg scenario that she hasn't had for Christmas in like 15, 20 years, we actually ended up spending about $45 to make a snack, to make dessert, and then if our favorite meal is like steak and potatoes or pork chops and potatoes, we can just make a meal in the middle of that. And not only are we rekindling our childhood, not only are we rekindling some of the best moments of our life, we did it building memories with somebody new. That's deep. Not nowhere in there was a 5-star restaurant, valet parking, reservations, yacht party, expensive extra. In this particular dynamic, you're probably going to come over to the house with either some sweats on or some regular pants, a regular blouse on. You're not even going to have your hair because you're about to get messy anyway. We making Rice Krispie treats. So you're not coming here in your prom dress. You come in here in your yoga outfit. You come in here with your tennis outfit because we're about to get messy in the kitchen. And then we're going to go sit down and have us a good meal. So at the end, I don't have to be in a 3-piece suit. I can just wear something normal. And now we get to see each other normal. Right? So you guess what the ladies just saved? 5 hours worth of hair, nails, makeup, and trying to fit into this dress that she knows she can't fit into. Spending money you can't afford. Because if she keeps presenting herself as this level of attraction and it costs her $1,000 a month to upkeep that, when she take all that stuff off, you're going to be like, oh, you got to understand there's a difference. So when you overspend on early dates, you're not just wasting money, you are sabotaging the process of discovery because you create an artificial environment that makes it impossible to know if she likes you or the 5-star experience that you're providing, because no woman's going to turn down the 5-star experience you're offering. And as a man, she shouldn't turn down the 5-star experience because you're offering, but you shouldn't be offering. You're also going to be putting immense pressure on yourself because instead of being present and charismatic, you are distracted doing mental math about the wine list and the tip amount. The anxiety kills the attraction. You're sitting here looking, you're thinking to yourself how much money you put aside for this date. Then you also are going to trigger how many bills you got to pay this week. Because right now, look, we're at the end of the month. By the middle of next month, it's going to be by the middle of next week, it's going to be the first. A lot of people got to pay their rent. You going out this weekend? You know what I mean? You sitting over here thinking about other shit that you could be paying for right now, but you're paying for her. You're going to be looking at certain credit cards that you're going to charge to the game, and then you're thinking about how your credit card due, the billing cycle going to roll over, and it's going to have a higher limit than what you wanted it to have. You wanted your credit score to be low, or your credit limits to be low, so that your credit score can be high, so that you can make a purchase coming up in the next couple months. But because you're about to go on this date with this girl, you're about to fuck up your credits, and you're not going to be able to make that purchase in a couple months like you want to. You got to push it back a few months. You see all the stuff that's going through your mind right now because you're overspending? The financial savvy man knows the goal of early dating is connection and qualification, not performance. So the best way to do this is with a low cost, high connection date, some similar to the one I gave. But the value of a date should be measured by the quality of the conversation, not the size of the bill. So what's this going to look like in practice? It looks like creativity and confidence. It looks like a walk through a cool historic neighborhood, grabbing a coffee or an ice cream, um, visiting a farmer's market on a Saturday morning and sharing a pastry, going to a museum or an art gallery on a free admission day, a picnic in a beautiful park. It's a classic romantic and gives you time to actually talk kind of date where you can do the picnic, and it depends on what you want to do with the picnic, because a picnic could be tuna fish sandwiches with some lettuce on them and pickles and mustard and whatever, and then you can have you a little thing of wine, a little roll of cheese, a couple crackers. You can have, you know what I mean? It could be something simple. It doesn't, but we don't think about this. All of the first date questions, when we ask a woman what she likes for her first date, she always tries to think of the most expensive thing that can come to her head. And then you got to ask yourself, she don't buy that for herself on a regular basis, so why the fuck is she testing you to buy that? And I'd approve this already. Most females do not do steak and lobster every day because most humans cannot process that much beef. We would get fat, right? Most women want to stay thin. They're going to do more vegetables. They're going to, if they do meat, they're going to lean towards fish unless they're allergic to it. They're not going to have a lot of steak. They're not going to have a lot of starch. They're not going to have a lot of fattening foods because they want to keep their girlish figure together, which means they're primarily eating salads from Wendy's and through the drive-thru, and they're not at a 5-star restaurant. They're getting a Caesar salad from the Walmart. They're not at a 5-star restaurant. So why, when they talk to you about what their ideal first date is, it is the most expensive restaurant nearby? Because they're testing your wallet. Don't give them that opportunity. I once dated this woman from Philly. I took her to a Chinese spot that was cheap, and she told me McDonald's have would have been good. Next date was a movie, and it was fun, and that's the kind of dates I'm into. Bro, I would have took her to the only reason why I would have took her to the Chinese restaurant was because they had a all you can eat buffet on the sushi rolls, and I love me some sushi rolls. So for $20, I had 54 sushi rolls, not 54 pieces, 54 plates of sushi rolls for $20. I can't get no cheaper than that. Because like a number one and a side at McDonald's would be $25. I done went to Subway and ordered a Subway sandwich, 1 foot long Italian, spicy Italian Subway sandwich. And by the time I got to the end, it was a $15 sandwich plus the drink and the bag of chips. I was at $25. So, and that was me taking care of me. I go on a date with somebody for Subway, it's $55. Like, damn, you know what I mean? But instead of me getting for me and getting greedy like that, I would go and get 2 6-inch and split it with her. Get a foot, split it with her, right? And only spend $25 on the two of us. Here's another one. Check out local trivia nights, because you can go to some of your local watering holes, and you can go to like karaoke night. Y'all can go to local trivia nights or a community theater play. A lot of us that are near colleges or universities, most of the colleges have a theater department that puts on plays, and y'all can get y'all a little set of tickets, $5-10 to go and watch some of the new performers perform their performing arts things, comedy shows, stuff like that. You know, instead of a blockbuster movie, or y'all could watch Netflix together, but you really want to get to know the other person. But these are not just cheap dates, they're smart. They put the focus on interaction with one another and allow for easy conversation, and it's going to create a shared experience. It's not like taking your girl on laser tag, which by all means, that is like one of the funnest things next to paintball. But how much talking are y'all going to have when y'all are under fire? There's certain dates that you have after y'all have committed to one another. And there's certain dates you're supposed to have until y'all commit with one another. Now let's address the fear that runs through every man's mind. But won't she think I'm broke or not serious? Because I know there's a lot of guys that's thinking that while I'm talking this shit. Won't she think that I'm broke or not serious by doing this? A woman of substance, one that you would actually want to build a life with, won't be turned off by these gestures. She will be refreshed, and she will see a man who is creative, confident, and doesn't need to use money as a crutch, which also shows financial responsibility, which allows her to trust your judgment. This covers a lot of bases here. She will see a man who values his resources and her company. It shows you believe your personality is the main attraction, and it should be exactly that way. We don't think about this when we're charging it to the underhills. So if a woman is genuinely disappointed that you suggested a walk in the park instead of a $200 dinner for a first meeting, she has done you a massive favor. And this is another reason why, Battle Zone, you're not going to be resentful, because she has raised a giant red flag and filtered herself out of your life. As I always say, she fired herself. She fired herself in the interview. I didn't even have to do it for her. You just saved yourself hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month, and heartache, and headache, and stress. Dating at your actual price point is the ultimate character filter. Now, the old rules that are rigid, the man pays, period. This turns dating into a series of financial obligations. It creates a dynamic where the man is the buyer and the woman is the product. She's not even selling nothing. She's being bought, fostering an undercurrent of entitlement on one side and resentment on the other. Doesn't matter which one it is. Because a lot of times, if a man is spending a lot of money, he might have entitlement for physical interaction, and she will have resentment because she assumes that all he wants is her body. And on the other side, you might have women that might feel a sense of financial entitlement to his income and resentment from him that she's a gold digger. Even with modern etiquette, which often says the person who invites should pay, can feel like a trap when men are still overwhelmingly expected to initiate the date. We, even in modern times, where whoever does the invitation pays for the date, we are forced to ask her on a date. She won't come to us more often than not and say, hey, I like your turtleneck. Let's go out on a date, and then pay. She will see that she likes my style, and she will hover in my presence so that I can see her, so that I can be attracted to her, so I can come over and talk to her. She's going to make it easier for me to set up the date, but I have to be the one to ask her for her contact information, ask her to go out on a date, set up the date, pay for the date because I invited her. There's a trick to the trade. He says she's letting me know what she's going to be like in the future. She is letting you exactly know what she's like in the present. And it's going to get worse in the future, because what happens when you become committed to one another is foundational expectations. What used to be a courtesy is now a priority. It is now mandatory. I used to open doors for you and pull out chairs for you because I thought you were a nice person. Now I have to open doors for you and pull out chairs for you because you're mine. I used to be able to pay for stuff for you because I thought you were a nice person and I wanted to get to know you. Now I have to pay for all of this stuff because you're mine. It goes from, and then if I started with $500 a night on the first date, you can't tell me that the anniversary is going to be $50 because I started at $500. Going above and beyond for Valentine's Day means I'm at a base level of $750. Because I started first couple dates at $500, your birthday got to be $1,000. I have to outdo myself. This is one of the other things. If you look at the historical trends of anniversary gifts in a relationship, in a committed relationship, it is a stepping stone. Rock, paper, scissors, platinum, metal, gold, diamonds, so all that other stuff. Not necessarily in that order, but that's what it's like. Cheap, not so cheap, mildly expensive, starting to get expensive, starting to get really expensive, engagement ring, marriage. You know what I mean? If we start up here at the middle and then taper down, that's counterproductive in a relationship. The traditional trend is that we're supposed to continuously improve financial investment in the relationship as the relationship improves. But because we were wasting a bunch of money to convince her to stay, once she feels comfortable with staying, we ain't got to spend so much money on her. Likewise, she was putting out at the beginning of the relationship like a jackrabbit. Now that we're in a committed relationship, she ain't got to put out as much. I can wait 3 months. Because we was doing too much trying to impress the other person. And that's not really who we are. That's not how we operate. The new rule is a more empowered, intelligent approach. Be generous when you choose to be, but remain detached from the outcome and pay close attention to the response. Now, this is a subtle but powerful shift from obligation to choice. It's not about avoiding payment. It's about changing the meaning of the payment. When you pay because you have to, it's a tax. When you pay because you want to, as a genuine expression of enjoyment, it is a gift. And when you give a gift, you should pay attention to how it is received. This isn't giving a gift with strings attached with intention. This is no strings attached gift. Now, you have to see what she's going to do with that. Here's how it's going to play out. On your first date for coffee, perfectly fine to say, I've got this. It's a small kind gesture on either side. But then you do something most men fail to do. You observe. Does she give a genuine thank you so much? That's very kind. This does show a little bit of appreciation. Does she offer? I'll get the next one. This shows a spirit of reciprocity, which is the level of equality that women miss out on. Does she say nothing and simply expect it? This is data. It might signal entitlement. Does she insist on splitting it and reach for her wallet? This shows independence, which, in my opinion, is an unhealthy level of independence because self sufficiency is the capability of holding down the fort until the rest of the family arrives. Independence will sacrifice the family for independent success. So while offering to split the bill, because this is another thing, women are like, oh, you should be grateful that I'm offering to split the bill. When a woman demands that the bill is split, she is saying that I am only willing to pay half, not more than half, less than half, but not more than half. When we have an activity together and we spent more money than we thought, I'm looking at this bill like this might be a little bit more than what I can afford. And because I'm looking at the itemized bill, she realizes that might be a very large expectation for me to have. And she can just say, hey, I'll cover some of that or I'll cover half of that. Not because she thinks you're broke, but because she might have ordered 75% of the stuff that you're offering to pay for. Well, you covered the dinner, but I ordered 10 or 15 extra drinks. I'll cover the drinks. You know, you ordered the one round of meals and she ordered a second round of meals. You ordered for her, she ordered something to go. I'll cover the extra stuff that wasn't intended in the original date. That type of split the check, that's perfectly fine because she's valuing you and she's valuing your money. She's not overspending. But if y'all went to Starbucks, I'll pay for myself. Nope. She's not willing to look out for you. And to prevent her from being indebted to you, she'll look out for number one first so that you don't have to. That type of behavior is a red flag. But out of the rest of them, they're not really good or bad responses inherently on their own, but they are crucial data points about her character, her attitude, and her expectations and intentions towards your partnership. A partner looking for ways to contribute. A passenger just enjoys the ride you're paying for. You're looking for a partner. So this approach uses small financial interactions as a character test. You're not tricking her like you see on those YouTube videos where they talk about, oh, I'm gonna pretend like we're gonna skip out on a check just to see if she'll do it. You'll pay the bill, but then you're gonna trick her into thinking that y'all are gonna skip out on a check. If she was gonna skip out on a check with you, even though that bill was already paid, that means that you got the kind of person that will steal before she nobly says, you ain't got to skip out on a check. I'll cover the whole bill. Because who's going to bail both of y'all out of jail if she was really willing to skip out on a check? Instead, you're gathering information instead of trying to trick her. As you continue to date, this generous detachment continues. Maybe you treat for dinner on the second date, and on the third, you can create an opening for her to contribute. So you pay for the first date, you pay for the second date, now she's going to pay for the third date. So I'll grab the movie tickets if you want to handle the snacks. Y'all want to go out dancing one night, you're paying for parking, she's paid for the cover. You might pay for the first round of drinks, she might pay for the second. Her reaction to these questions is everything. Does she embrace the idea of being a team? Or is there a moment of awkwardness? Because if y'all go to a restaurant, oh, it's ladies' night. She gets in for free. She pays your cover. She sets up the bar tab and orders everything under her name, but then you pay the tab because half of the shit she ordered, she's going to get on a discount. She just saved you 50% of what you would have paid for and paid your way in. That's a complete difference. A woman looking for a true partner will be happy to contribute however she can. If she know the bouncers and she can get you in for free, the money that you would have paid to get in can pay for the first round of drinks. She's going to want to feel like she is investing in this experience just like you, far and above just being sexy on a date. A woman looking for a provider will balk at the idea of partnership. She will get aggressive at the idea because she's just looking for somebody to care for her. Even if she's your wife, it works the same way. It works the same way. If your partner is your partner, she is helping you succeed. If the other person that you're in a relationship with is your dependent, she is expecting you to compensate. It's a different mindset. The key is looking for a spirit of reciprocity, not just who pays more often. If you always pay, you rob yourself of the opportunity to see if she is a giver or a taker. By participating in generous detachment, you stay in control. You turn an obligation into a choice. And you learn something very vital about her character. Because think about this. If you're in a relationship, you're married to this woman. Now, I told you, if you making 52,000 a year and she's making 45,000 a year, and you're paying for everything, the house, the cars, phone bills, everything, you don't need her money to cover the basic standard of living. She might pay for whatever you can't afford to pay for outside of that. Her hair, her nails, her clothes, whatever, and whatever money left over, she puts that into the high interest stock options and invest them. Y'all can become millionaires that way. But you put a little bit of money aside for y'all to go out for couples night. And y'all want to do more than one activity, but you don't got enough money for more than one activity. She offers to pay for the second activity. That's fine. But what if, since she know you paying for everything, even if you were going to take her out, let's say you were going to go to putt-putt golf, and then after putt-putt golf, y'all were going to go to dinner, right? Even if it wasn't like a fancy restaurant, even if y'all were going to go to putt-putt golf and y'all were going to go to a fast food restaurant, she know you spending all your money on this house. Even if you did put money aside to pay for this event, your helper would take financial stress off of you and pay for the dinner, pay for the putt-putt. Or she might let you pay for the dinner and pay for the putt-putt. And she'll come out of nowhere and put your car in the shop, put some repairs on the car, cover your car insurance, cover a bill in the house. She might decide to just give you some money in the house. Since you have spent everything else on her, she might just give you some money in the house just because. Just to help you out some. Women that have value show their value through their efforts. Okay? The old rule was just to avoid talking about money. It's seen as unromantic and taboo because so few couples talk about it. Financial disagreements are at the top of the reasons for divorce. Avoiding the money conversations is like buying a house with someone without ever looking at the foundations. The new rule is going to be introducing financial topics gradually, in stages, as the relationship deepens. So you want to move from broad values to specific habits. And finally, to the hard numbers. So having honest conversations about money early can help minimize those conflicts later. You wouldn't ask for a bank statement on the first date. That's unrealistic. You should have her show you the last time she was tested before you sleep with her, though. But you can't always wait until you're signing a lease for her to move into your house to discover that your partner has crippling debt. The solution is a sequence of conversations. Stage one is the early dating phase, dates 1 through 5. This is the values layer. In the beginning, you don't talk about money directly. You talk about life and you listen. You're going to listen for those clues about values. This is covert intelligence gathering. You can ask questions like, what was your family like growing up? Some people are going to talk about the trauma that they went through, but some are going to talk about how their parents bought stuff, invested in things, built stuff, started up businesses, created things, and left some of that for them. You want to listen for stories about abundance or scarcity of any kind. Then you ask a question like, what do you love to do for fun? Which all men ask, but we don't pay attention to the answer. Do their hobbies require a lot of money, or are their hobbies simpler? What's a big goal you have for the next few years? Are they going to talk about saving for a down payment or buying a luxury car? The goal is to understand their fundamental relationship with money. Are they future oriented or focused on instant gratification? Stage two, this is going to be when we are getting exclusive. This is when y'all go from casual dating to dedication to one another. And this is going to have the habits and the attitudes layer addressed. Once you're exclusive, the conversation can get more direct, but still not about exact numbers. This is where you're still living in separate houses, but you're talking about money personalities. So you can broach the topic gently by being vulnerable first. You can say, sometimes I've been focused on lately uh, things related to my financial health. Then you can say, well, I'm definitely more of a saver. Are you more of a saver or more of a spender? Now, this is also a great time to be transparent and authentic. And you might say, hey, I'm really excited about our trip, but I want to be transparent. I have a travel budget that I stick to. Can we talk about what a comfortable budget looks like for both of us? And this isn't just about saving money. It's about seeing how they handle a mature, practical conversation. A refusal to discuss money is a significant red flag. He says, I have to get over my trauma because she had adult children who are not working at all. All right. Uh, Her adult kids living in your house under your income, spending your money is not a trauma. That's a failure to stand on your non-negotiable expectations because the sex was good. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be traumatized about 3 grown men letting you spend money on them. I'm being serious. You should not be haunted by the fact that in the next 2 to 5 years, you might meet a girl that might have a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and you think to yourself, oh man, these kids are going to live with me for another 20 years. That's not the dynamic. I mean, if you have that mentality, yes, you do got to get over that trauma, but you shouldn't have that trauma. If you was dating a woman with a couple of kids, a few kids that were 18, 19, and 20, first you got to remember, in the United States, they're financially considered children until they're 26. That's the day that the kids are no longer covered under your health insurance. That's the day when the kids are no longer covered on your tax return. So if they were 18, 19, 20, 23, they're still kids. They're adult kids, like you said. They don't have to have jobs because they're going to college and their parents are paying for them. You were a step parent, but they were paying for them. But you have to ask yourself, when you are dating a woman that has a 14, 15, and 16-year-old and you're going to date them for 5 years, do I still want to pay for this 18, 19, or 20-year-old? That might change your perception as to whether or not you date a woman with children. Are you okay with 6, 7, and 8-year-olds? Are you okay with diapers, 2, 3, 4-year-olds? They're easier to teach stuff. The ones that are 15, 16, and 17, if they respect you, they're easier to negotiate with. But I mean, a woman with children is going to have its drawbacks. If you decide to get into a relationship with a woman with children, you're going to have to accept those drawbacks. Now, you don't necessarily have to be concerned about dating a woman with children, because you can date a woman who has adult children that don't live in the house. You don't have any responsibility. You can date a woman that has children that live with her mama now. She don't have responsibility. But a woman that has babies, 7 through whatever, that they not living with her and she's acting like she ain't got no kids. If you had kids with her, how responsible would she be with those kids? If her kids are being taken care of by her family members, your kids will be taken care of by her family members. And then, for those fellas that are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the Philippines and gonna find me a female. There is what 60% of women in the Philippines over the age of 20 that's got at least one child. So you're not always going to go over there and find you a 22-year-old virgin over there. You're not going to find you a 23-year-old that doesn't have 2 kids. But you will find a woman that will give you 15 to 20 years of her life before she gives up on you. You're not going to find that in America, where a woman that after the first 2 or 3 times that you talk to them, that she's going to give you 20 years to get this shit right before she disappear on your ass. That doesn't work in America. 2, 3 dates, and she's on 2, 3 dates with 2, 3 other people at the same time as she's on 2, 3 dates with you. Video games, college, that was it. They was not doing anything. But you contributed to that. You contributed to that. When you got into a serious committed relationship with her, you found out that she had kids that didn't apply themselves the way you would have applied yourself at their age. You did not establish an understanding with her so that she could get that understanding with them, that if you were going to be a permanent fixture in their life, that everyone in the family must contribute respectfully. You got to do something. Whether they help mama around the house and the mama got less effort to do so that she can spend more time taking care of your needs, or they all get out there and go get them a job and take care of what they need. You should not have young adults in your house unwilling to contribute to the house that they live in. That's poor upbringing. It doesn't matter if they're boys or girls. They got to contribute some kind of way, right? So when you complain about the fact that you had adults in your house that played video games and did absolutely nothing else, that's because you allowed that. And when you got tired of it and it started becoming a pet peeve, when you started speaking up on it, she would shut you down on it because you allowed it in the beginning of the relationship, and you lost the authority and the foundational background to challenge the change late in the relationship. Then it was just something that pissed you off that you couldn't address, because if you addressed it, she would shut you down. Then you would lose intimacy, sexual connection. You would have more frustrations now. And that probably contributed to the resentment that contributed to your divorce, because you didn't stand on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior in the beginning. That if these boys is going to live in my house, they better have a job. They got room and board on college campus. They don't have to stay here. But if you're going to college and you're playing video games, your refund should be going towards this house. Paying for the cars that you drive, the cell phones that you use, the food that you eat, the utilities that you burning on that gaming console, the internet service that you're burning on that gaming console. I shouldn't have to pay for your entertainment. Y'all grown. I pay for your bare necessities. Anything that is a luxury at After the age of 16, anything that is a luxury, you should know how to get out there and get it your damn self. I should have been responsible as an adult to teach you how to go get it the way my parents taught me how to go get it when I was 8, 9, and 10 years old. So you 15, 16, 17 years old, you 8 years late. You should have been go getting it your damn self the last 8 years. So if I met you and you ain't a go getter, by the end of this year, you'll damn sure be a go getter. Because if you staying in my house, you ain't getting nothing that you ain't went and got on your own, because nothing worth having is not worth fighting for. So you're gonna show me how much you value this PlayStation because you're gonna pay for it. But no, they're not my kids. I can't tell them what to do. You're allowing them to eat all your food, run up all your bills, contribute nothing to your household, and piss you off because of it. We have to recognize that we contribute to our own frustrations a lot of times by not doing anything. If you don't like what's going on, you have to do something. You have to speak up on it first and then start making changes about it after. Can't just let it slide. Oh, I love her. Fuck that. Them kids better have jobs. The government won't even give you food stamps if you ain't trying to go to work. If your legs ain't broke, you better have a job. You know what I mean? Oh, well, they going to college. Okay, but internships, you can get a job through your school, financial aid, where you can work at your school and get paid and then contribute that. There's no excuses. Stage 3 is going to be long-term commitments. This is going to be that pre-cohabitation before y'all moved into one another. So you understand that stage 2 was after the first handful of dates. Y'all decide that y'all are going to start being serious. Y'all haven't moved into the house together, but y'all are being serious. This pre-cohabitation, pre-marriage, well, right when y'all start talking about moving into with one another, y'all start combining resources, start combining financial expenses. This will include the entire numbers layer that we said earlier wasn't always a good discussion to have within the first 10, 15, 20 days. And this is going to be the final stage of getting your money right with your partner. Because when you're seriously considering combining your living situation, combining all of your livelihoods together, now and only now do you get into those hard numbers. So you want to frame it as a team meeting, not as an interrogation. It is a strategic plan for your shared future. You're scheduling a time, maybe over a bottle of wine at home when the kids aren't there to get on your damn nerves. The both of you are going to come prepared to share income, major debts, student loans, credit cards, credit scores, savings, investments, long-term financial goals. An unwillingness to share this information now that y'all are about to move in together is a deal breaker. We might as well break up, because hiding financial accounts or debts is a form of financial infidelity and a massive breach of trust. She find out about it, she gonna be pissed off at you. I can't trust you no more. So you need to have zero tolerance on this shit too. By sequencing the conversation this way, you make a daunting topic manageable. You build a foundation of shared values first, so when you get to the numbers, it's not a confrontation, but a collaboration. You're capable in this particular process of deciding how much y'all got, how much y'all need to spend, how much y'all can do without, certain bills that y'all can collaborate together. If y'all got separate phone bills, get on a family plan, save some money. Y'all got different Netflix accounts, combine your money, get on one Netflix account. You know, y'all go from individual insurance companies, get on the cheapest policy, stack up the coverage. Typically, when a man adds a woman to his income, he adds about 41% to his income. So he'll go from 100% of what he used to pay for himself to 141%. So if a man and a woman come together on a $52,000 a year income, and then you add her expenses to his income, you're going to be around about $75,000 out of a $92,000 a year income, which means that you still got about $20,000 ish, give or take, that y'all could be investing in high interest brokerage accounts that can contribute towards having $250,000 in 10 years plus interest. And all your hair, nails, makeup, Everything that you want, Brazilian weed, all the stuff that you used to get for yourself, all still covered in that expense. You don't have to settle for less or live a broke lifestyle to accomplish that. Is I always keep some money put up I never speak on and act broke so that conversation would be hard for me. Bro, you could have a safe in your house with 5 grand in it. The fact is that while you don't have to give her combination to the safe, you can tell her that you have an emergency fund that has 5 grand in it. You ain't got to tell her that you can access it from the bedroom. One of the reasons why you have to find the way to be emotionally and mentally capable of providing this information to your partner is because you have to know how far your partner is capable of going before the shit hits the fan, before the bottom falls out of the barrel. And your partner needs to know the same thing. If you know that your partner's check is already spent and stuff needs to be paid for, they don't have to come and ask you to cover something that needs to be covered. You know they can't afford it because y'all already talked about this. You're gonna cover it because you know that they didn't already spent their money on the bills. And likewise, the same. Now I know they got a lot of people. No, he only asking you how much money you got so he can use you. That's the mindset of a person that is not a team player. Because no woman is going to sit here and admit that they only ask a man how much money he makes before the first date so that she can use him. They want to know that they have the financial security in their relationship if they choose him. And a man needs to know that he has the financial reinforcements from his woman if he chooses her, because she's supposed to be a helper. If he need help covering a bill, she needs to have the capability to do it, even if she has the motivation to want to do it. If she ain't got no job, I wish I could help you pay for this. That don't help. I wish don't get the fucking bills paid. If I had one wish, did not get that man that girl. All right. And Brandy said almost don't count. So you got to understand. The old classic rules was to date someone in your own income bracket. Or for the men, we date down. So you could always be the provider. This mindset misses the entire point. A high income can easily be wiped out by a terrible financial habit. The new rule is going to be arguably the most important. Her income level is largely irrelevant. Her financial character is everything. Financial financial compatibility has far more to do with habits and mindsets than with the size of a paycheck. So a woman who earns a modest salary but is responsible, lives within her means, and is resourceful, and is a financial savant, that's going to be a romantic asset. A woman earning 6 figures who is drowning in secret debt and spending impulsively in spite of that secret debt is a massive liability. So a woman that's got $30,000 a year, but she's living responsibly, can be an asset. Where a woman making $120,000 a year has $180,000 worth of debt, but she's about to go to Cancun for the weekend, massive liability. It ain't about how much she makes, it's about what she does with it. Your job as a financially savvy man is to become an expert at identifying financial character. So you're a detective looking for green flags and red flags. Green flags that are signs of strong financial character. She lives within her means. Her lifestyle seems appropriate for her profession, meaning that she's not living the Malibu lifestyle on a McDonald's budget. She can say, I can't afford that without shame. This shows that she is secure enough to be honest about her financial reality. She ain't gonna snap at you and swerve her neck because she expected you to do it. She respects your financial non-negotiable expectations for behavior when you suggest a low-cost date. she embraces it enthusiastically instead of getting pissed off because she wants Redmonds or something, Texas Cattlemen or something. She's also going to be resourceful. She talks about finding deals, cooking at home, using coupons, discounts, special price reduction days, or other ways that manages her money intellectually. She has clear goals, and she talks about saving for a trip, a class, or a future investment, showing she is future oriented. Now, let's get down to some of these red flags. And ladies, are y'all listening to these red flags? Whether it hits close to home for you, or if you just know one of your home girls that this might apply to, just know I ain't targeting you because I wasn't expecting to be on your For You page today. But since I'm here and you ain't left yet, you can learn from this, change from this, and improve from this. Or you can tip some of your homegirls off that these are some bad traits that we allowed ourselves to fall into. And it might be a good idea because the men are talking about change. They ain't going to be putting up with this by the end of 2026. You know what I mean? You heard it from a man today. So some of these red flags, these are signs of poor financial character. Her lifestyle far exceeds her known income. She riding around in G-Wagons and she working at Ross, and Ross is paying minimum wage, and a G-Wagon got $1,000 a month payment on it. What's going on there? This is the number one red flag, implying that she has hidden debt or a total lack of planning. Constant emergencies. Her car is always breaking down because she ain't paying for the general maintenance on a regular basis. Her rent is always late because she ain't putting the money aside to pay the rent last month for this month. This can indicate poor planning or a subtle way of soliciting for help. A subtle way of soliciting for help is for her to project to you that she has a financial problem. And because you love her, you're going to solve her financial problem by compensating for something that she knew she didn't have the money for. Y'all seen some of them skits where the women would call their boyfriend up and tell him that she need more money for the hair than what he thought, and they give him a price, and then when he get off the phone, her and her homegirls are splitting the money. That's not how all women operate, but that's a good example of I didn't spend my money on my phone bill. I paid for the Drake concert, but because I paid for the Drake concert, I can't pay my phone bill. I'm going to tell my boyfriend that I can't afford to pay my phone bill. He's going to pay my phone bill. That's common behavior for some women. You know, oh, I wanted to buy this one outfit for this one event, but my rent is due. I'm going to buy the outfit because I want to go to this event and I want to look good for this event. I'm just going to tell my man that I need money for the rent and he's going to pay my rent. I know he's going to pay my rent, so I'm just going to tell him and he's going to do it. That puts extra money in my pocket to go do something else. That is the red flag behavior that we're talking about here. Okay, that's subtle ways of soliciting for help. It's just like you not having a car, whether you're a man or a woman, you not having a car. You're having a conversation with your friend about how you have to be somewhere that will take so long for you to walk there that the only way you're going to make it there, since you're sitting here hanging out talking to your friend, is if they drive you there. That's soliciting for a free ride. Instead of you telling your friend, I can't talk right now, I got to get to where I got to go because I'm on foot. It take me 30 minutes to walk there. I got 28 minutes left to get there. You say, man, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes with you. I had a 30-minute walk before I started talking to you. Only way I'm going to get there on time is if I get a ride. And then the good friend that you are, man, I'll take you, bro. Get you there in like 5 minutes and get dropped off. And because it was an offer, you ain't even got to pay gas money. Soliciting for help. This happens in a lot of scenarios. Y'all going to stop and think like, damn, I didn't have somebody do me like that once before. You ever been at the cash register at a grocery store and somebody taking too long to pay, making it seem like they ain't got enough money, but they ain't putting nothing back? so that you can offer to cover the difference. It's the same shit. It's the same thing. It ain't always got to be your romantic partner. This is subtle ways to solicit for help. Financial security or financial scarcity. This is what we're going to identify here. Financial scarcity. This is going to be where she's vague about her job. A lot of girls that are dancers, exotic dancers, strippers, prostitutes, call girls, escort girls, they work at the bottle club or whatever the case may be, OnlyFans girls, not necessarily comfortable with talking about what they do for a living because they sell their body to make money. But there are also scenarios where women avoid money conversations. You catch her in small lies about purchases. Hiding debt is a major warning sign. And when you catch her in a small lie about a purchase, this is a situation where you keep it to yourself like, aha, not one of those, gotcha, bitch. That's not a scenario. That's not what you're trying to do. You're not trying to call her out on it. You're recognizing to yourself, she had more money than this before she started, and she ain't got that much money right now. Huh. Okay. I need to pay attention to this. That's what you're doing. An attitude of entitlement is another red flag. And we've seen this all over social media, where she expects you to pay for everything and shows little appreciation for what you did pay for and belittle you if you don't pay for it. Attitude for entitlement, red flag. A belief in get rich quick schemes. This is going to reveal a desire for a reward without effort. Finding a 6'5", $100,000 a year man and doing nothing but sleeping with him to maintain that relationship. Unrealistic expectations. Reward without effort. This is a dangerous mindset in a partner. Think of it like you're a CEO of your life. Hiring a CFO. A CEO is a chief executive officer. A CFO is a chief financial officer. Would you hire a candidate with a flashy resume who bankrupt their last 3 companies, or the diligent, trustworthy one with a proven track record of responsibility? The choice is going to be obvious there. Screen for character, integrity, and responsibility. That's who can build an empire with. All right, now we're about to get into the advanced section. Yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours now. We ain't even got to the advanced section. That's why I tell y'all to like and subscribe. If y'all ain't hit that like button on YouTube, hit that like button on Twitter and Twitch. Follow me if you haven't started following me yet. We take deep dives in how y'all can improve yourselves. We getting somewhere. The rules that truly separate the men who are just good with money from those who are strategically building a life of financial and personal freedom. This is where we are right now. So if these rules are hitting home, if you're starting to see a path out of the financial pressure and the freedom, y'all know that y'all got to do what y'all got to do to make sure that this algorithm can spread this information to more individuals. Share this show with somebody that you know can benefit from it, because this is an important conversation. More and more men need to see and get involved in. Instead of just chasing down those other podcast channels that are always just devaluing women for having bad attitudes and not valuing men, we need to have more of the podcast getting around that is showing men how to value themselves and then hold women to the expectations of value, so that actually you're making yourself a more valuable man so that more valuable women can value you. Instead of changing the crop in the field, you're changing the farmer cultivating the crop, so that when the farmer cultivates the field, there's a better crop to be harvested. When there's a better crop to be harvested, you have better benefits. It's not just about planting the seed. It's about getting rid of the weeds. It's about watering your garden. The grass is always green on the other side because you don't do shit on your side. You got to fix your side first before you hold expectations to the other side. right? Even with the HOA, they had to build the houses first and set the standard before they could hold the new buyers to that standard. I'm creating higher value men here so that we can hold ourselves to a higher level of self expectation before we hold the women to a performance expectation. Because she has to, if I am what she wants, she has to be what I want. But how the hell can I expect her to be what I want when I'm not what she wants? We have to increase our value as men so that we qualify for the value of woman that we're looking for. Right? So we have to have this conversation more and more often. Share it with your nephews, share it with your sons, share it with your brothers, share it with your homeboys. Some of y'all need to share it with your fathers and your grandfathers and your uncles and stuff. Because we need to start talking about this more. Mentorship is across as well as it is down. It's not just mentoring to the people who ain't made it to where you at. You got to be able to mentor to the people on your level that ain't doing it the way they supposed to be doing it. When you find a new way and you change, everybody on your level got to change with you, or you got to change your network. Everybody who hasn't gotten to where you at yet, you got to teach them how to become who you are. You understand? And you got to learn from the people that's better than you. Now, let's get into the rules that will help you build your fortress. In these old rules, pushed by the culture that romanticizes total fusions, this is when things get serious. You combine everything into one joint account. Often a terrible move, but it could be beneficial if you do this correctly. This often is sold as the ultimate act of trust. In reality, it can be a recipe for disaster. The new rule is maintaining financial independence and building clear, strong, non-negotiable expectations. Even in a committed relationship, you think yours, mine, and ours. This isn't about a lack of trust. It's about the highest forms of trust. It's trusting that you are both sovereign individuals choosing to build a life together. Putting all your money into the pot and then having somebody else take your money out, that's not what we're talking about. You should have a completely different structure. Research shows creating separate financial spaces reduces conflict. Younger generations are already embracing this, with a recent report indicating that 43% of Gen Z couples prefer to keep their finances separate to maintain autonomy. Gen Z individuals are going to be those young bucks that are like 25 years old right now, 20 to 25 years old right now. So if you're in your 30s, you're part of the Gen X group, the last part of the Gen X group. Your kids are doing this. So here's how to build a financial fortress. Never, ever co-sign a loan. It's not necessary. Okay. I've told you guys before that y'all can combine y'all credit scores together when you're building, but that's the kind of stuff that happens when you're building a life for date to marry, and you add this person onto your credit score as an authorized user, which gives them a better line of credit, and they add you on as an authorized. That's not issuing credit cards. You add them onto your credit score as an authorized user. They add you onto their credit score as an authorized user. If you've got 5 credit cards and they've got 5 credit cards, y'all both got 10 credit limits added together. That builds your credit score. If y'all are not tearing up the credit card limits, y'all can boost your credit score up to a 720 real fast. The way that works is that instead of you applying for a credit card every 3 months on your own, trying to get 4 lines of credit a year, you can apply for a credit card once every 6 months and have your partner alternate and apply for credit cards once every 6 months, where y'all will have a new line of credit 4 times a year, but all of your credit lines will be compiling in a uniform fashion. And when you get to a certain level of credit, you end up with spikes in credit limits, which gives you spikes in credit scores. So you'll go from hitting a bunch of $300 to $500 credit cards to getting $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 credit cards. You'll go from $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 credit cards to $25,000 and $50,000 credit cards. You can consolidate a bunch of the smaller credit cards, especially the ones with fees, into a new line of credit that's going to give you larger credit limits. But you have to note that when you terminate an older account, you destroy your average credit history. So you guys got to negotiate these things. But this is one of the things that could help you guys build credit and lead y'all to those American Express cards and get you one step closer to a black card that has no limit to it. But you never want to co-sign on a loan with another person. And the reason why you don't want to co-sign on a loan is because you're financially responsible for the debt. Y'all should be able to buy things 100% up front. So this is going to be a non-negotiable ironclad law. Do not co-sign a loan for a partner to whom you are not legally married to yet. When you co-sign, you are going to be 100% responsible for the debt if they fail to pay it. You should be able to help build their credit up so that they can finance the vehicle on their own. Doing stuff like that will link your fate to theirs with all of the risk and none of the legal protections of a marriage. And likewise, since y'all are only committed to one another financially, if they leave, they can leave and stop paying for the car. And until the car gets repossessed, your credit score is destroyed. And they're calling you, trying to force you to pay for that car because you are the guarantor. You're the cosigner. Helping them create a budget is going to be supportive. Taking on their liability is reckless. Adopting the yours, mine, and our system. This is a gold standard for modern couples. Once you move in or get married, you structure your finances like this: yours and mine. You earn and maintain your own separate checking account and savings account where your paychecks are going to be deposited at. I'm going to do the same thing. Ours. We're going to open up a joint checking account for shared household expenses like the rent, utilities, groceries, whatever we would share. All of that's going to be paid for by the joint bank account. We're going to put all of our joint money into the joint bank account, and then our personal spendings is going to be our personal spendings. We can actually have a joint investment account and a personal savings account. We can actually build a trust that we put all of our joint money into, and then have I would say 25-25 beneficiaries, where you're splitting 50% and reinvesting the other 50% back into the trust, where even after relationship is over, you're still getting paid from the last relationship. That's a good thing to do. But joint investments allows you to put your money into a stock option, or put y'all's money into a stock option in a place where both of y'all have access to it when it's time to pull it out. But each month, you're both are going to contribute a prepaid amount to that hours account. The contribution doesn't have to be 50-50, because if there is a big income difference, it's often going to be fair to contribute portionally. So if you're only going to put up 1/3 of your income, you're going to put up 1/3. I'm going to put up 1/3, but it's going to equal to 100% of the bills we got to pay. Right? Now, the beauty of this system is it estimates how we're going to spend our money, which eliminates arguments over personal spending. Your discretionary money that you're going to spend on yourself is the money that you keep in your personal bank account. All of the priorities that we're going to take care of the household with is in the joint bank account. So if I want to hold some money and buy you a special gift that you don't need to know about until you get it, I can do that with my money, because it doesn't impact the bill money. If I want to buy myself that GTA 6 before it comes out, that's my money. You ain't gonna talk to me about it. If you want to get those Louis Vuitton Velcro red velvet bottom shoes for $1,500, you save for that. That's your shoes. That's your money. I ain't gonna talk to you about it. Because after we finish taking care of the bills, what's left in the yours account is yours to manage. You don't need permission from me to buy any new gadgets or anything to that effect. She doesn't need any permission for me to purchase a bunch of shit from Amazon off of her account. It provides both of us with the autonomy and the teamwork. Right? You want to maintain your own individual emergency funds. Even within the marriage, it is wise to maintain a personal emergency fund. And this is going to be your personal safety net, which for some of you ladies, That's that escape fund that you need. So if in the event that you got to lead a relationship, you can get you a hotel or whatever the case may be. An emergency fund is an emergency fund for your personal self, not for the relationship, not for the kids involved in the relationship, right? Life is going to be very unpredictable, and this fund provides you with a buffer and a sense of security that is entirely your own. And this structure isn't a sign of a weak relationship. It is the architecture of a strong one because it acknowledges that you are a team, but a team is made up of strong individuals in the team. That makes us self-sufficient, not independent. Relationships are fundamentally based off of codependency, but it is a healthy level of codependency. It's going to replace vague romantic notions with a clear functional system. And the most damaging old rule that we're going to address now is the idea that money buys confidence. That if you just earn more, you'll feel better about yourself and become more attractive. This is going to lead men to a life on the hamster wheel, endlessly chasing a higher income to solve a sense of inadequacy. And that never works. You see, that's the way it should be. Damn right, that's the way it should be. That's not usually the way it is. Usually, you have one of two ways that it goes. Either he pays for everything and she don't ask no questions, or he gives all his money to her and she gives him an allowance. That's usually what we deal with. When y'all roommates, you keep your money in your pocket, I keep my money in my pocket. You might pay for certain bills, I'll pay for other bills. We go half on the rent, 50-50. But that's not a healthy relationship because your relationship is split down the middle. And if I don't make enough, you're going to complain about covering the difference. And that's going to cause financial arguments in the relationship. If I don't put in enough because I'm trying to save up to do something nice for you until I did something nice for you, you're complaining about me not carrying my weight. Then when I surprise you with this expensive item, oh, you love it, but it doesn't make up for all the resentment that was built up in you when I wasn't paying my weight. And it doesn't make up for the resentment that was built up in me because I'm thinking this bitch don't even know what I'm doing for her. She complaining about what I'm not paying for, but I'm trying to get her something nice that she says she wanted. Right? This is those money fights that happen out of nowhere. Now, the final most powerful new rule is going to be this: true, unshakable confidence, which comes from competency. It is the deep internal knowledge that you have your life handled with or without a partner. And this is going to be a fundamental reason why a lot of men are going to be retiring out of the dating game. Because if you know that your finances are not in order, you know that you got too much financial chaos. If you've got bills, debt, repossessions, foreclosures, bankruptcy court, child support cases, divorce court, criminal charges, probation, restitution, student debt, anything that cannot be appropriately managed in a relationship with another person that is taking up the majority of your attention, you got to fix that first before you start looking for somebody else's financial debt to add to yours. Okay? That's why a lot of men are going to be pulling out. Because why am I going to add 41% more debt when I can barely pay my rent right now? That's what men are going to ask themselves. Now, being able to do what I've been telling you guys about doing, about spending less money on bullshit, investing more money in other places, making your money make more money for you, get a raise, but don't increase your financial spending limits, and start putting more money away, start building a blanket where you can start covering more of your debt, pay your debt down faster, get away from the interest rates, don't overspend. All of these things fix that problem. But once you fix that problem, then you're able to get on a dating market. Now that you've gotten that done, you're able to find somebody that's already done it too. And now you're able to find somebody that's qualifiable to you, because just getting her because she's attractive, but she come with $500,000 worth of debt that she can't afford to pay, you just hired $150,000 a year worth of debt that you're going to have to pay. You got to pay her debt so that she don't got no problems because you love her. You got to pay for her probation because you love her. You got to pay for her DUI class because you love her. You got to pay for her corner part of the 20 because you love her. You know what I mean? You can't be dealing with this nonsense. This is going to be the ultimate mindset shift. So when you are confident, and this is going to come from confidence, you become outcome independent in dating. When you are outcome independent in dating, that means that what you're doing does not depend on the outcome. Meeting a great woman becomes a want, not a need. This lack of neediness is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess. A woman feels safe with a man who is in a stable center of his own universe. So a man that's trying to find a girl so that he can stop being sad, a man that's trying to find a girl to help him quit his bad habits, a man that's trying to find a girl to make him whole, she knows he's thirsty. She can sense it. She knows he's desperate. She can see it. She can see the sweat trickling down his face. You understand? And it's not attractive. It is not attractive. He said, that's the lie. I was always thinking that it was making everything better. And I offered to pay all the bills for 6 months. And she said, can't, what is that? Can't offer that. Oh, yeah, she's not going to offer none. A lot of times you will pay for 100% of everything. And then if you ask them for something, a lot of them don't even know where their money went. They don't pay attention to that for themselves because their responsibilities are covered by you. Not because they using you, not because they bad people, because they don't pay attention. They have extra money and they impulse buy. That's what advertisements are for. Impulse buy. You know, it's not about her not being grateful about the stuff that you're doing. It's about the fact that because she has extra discretionary spending and she was never taught about saving and investing, instead of letting it sit in the bank and collect dust because the bank don't give you that much money in interest, she might as well enjoy life with you. So she'll upgrade her lifestyle. She'll buy you clothes, buy herself not clothes, get you Jordans and Fubu and Rocawear and Louis Vuitton and all of this other stuff. And she'll get herself a Prada and all of the other stuff that she do for herself. She might even pay for the activities where y'all go out on date night 3 times a month, and $600 a week on her, where you paying for the bills and she's paying for the fun, but y'all still fucking broke. She ain't a bad woman. She's just not prioritizing the money in a way where the both of y'all can quit working in 10 to 20 years of your relationship and not have to work no more for the rest of y'all life. And it's not because she's a bad woman. It's because she was never taught that. It's not taught in school. It wasn't taught by your parents. It wasn't taught by your grandparents. Your parents didn't know. That's why they didn't teach you. Your grandparents didn't know. That's why they didn't teach them. I didn't know until I did the research and found out about it. When I found out, I started teaching y'all. But it wasn't taught to me 30 years ago. I had to figure this out 5 years ago. And started teaching y'all 3 years ago. See what I'm saying? I'm proud to say I paid all my debts after my divorce, increased my credit score. I'm proud to say I've never been married, and I'm proud to say that I have no debts that don't belong to me that I had to pay off. You and I have 2 different things to be proud of that had the exact same outcome. We in the same spot, right? Just 2 different directions. Building this confidence means building competence in 3 key areas. The first area is going to be financial competence. This isn't about being rich. It's about being in control of your own shit. It's knowing where your money is going, having a budget, an investment plan, and your strategy to increase your earning power. Ladies, y'all can take this information and apply it to yourselves, because a man earning $60,000 a year who is debt free and investing is infinitely more competent than a confident man that is earning 200,000 a year who lives paycheck to paycheck. Know your numbers and have a plan. I'm gonna say that again for the ladies in the back. A man earning $60,000 a year who is debt free. He owns his own car, he owns his own house, or renting his apartment. He's investing. He is infinitely more competent and confident than a man that is earning $200,000 a year, who's living paycheck to paycheck, $2,000 a month for his brand new G5 whatever vehicle, $7,000 a month for his 5-bedroom house in the Hamptons. You have to know your numbers and have a plan. So if you're looking at a man with an expensive car, that means he has an expensive bill for that car, because he has possession of that car, but he doesn't own that car. He's making payments on it. Y'all look at that flashy Porsche in them bait car videos, and y'all see them girls running over to financial debt. It don't matter if that man is renting that car to record that video or if he's actually paying notes on that car. What matters is that she is broke walking, running over to a man who is financially wasteful and broke, driving a car that is not yet his. Both of them are making bad decisions right now. Oh, he's going to make her look like a gold digger, but he's a dumbass for that expensive ass car. I'm going to call it like it is, ladies. If you look at all of his jewelry, you look at all of his name brand clothes, and you look at the fact that he's catching a bus, who's more responsible to you? The man that looked like he got $50,000 on his person as he walks down the street where he could get robbed at? Or the man that's driving that 1986 Honda Civic that's still running, but he go to work every day on time? Which one is more responsible to you? The one driving the Maserati, or the one driving a Toyota Corolla from 1996 or 2010? Here's one. Which one looks more responsible to you? The man with a paid off Toyota Camry, living in a condo that he owns, or a man with a Hellcat parked in a courtyard of the projects? Which one is more responsible? The one that's car rich, or the one that doesn't have financial liabilities holding him back? Really got to start assessing your situation, ladies. When y'all looking at a man's assets, you're not looking at how much you can get out of him. You're looking at how much he got left after he finished paying for all that shit. Right? Now, number 2 is going to be life competency, because your relationship is just one part of a fulfilling life, not the whole damn thing. Build a life that you're proud of living, not just going to work every day so that you can pay for the woman that's at your house that you barely get to see, while she take care of the kids that you never got time for. Where you can show pictures to everybody else about the life that you don't never get to experience because you're working double overtime on this job. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that you got to have the kind of life that you are able to live, that you are proud of living right now as a single man. What's this going to mean? Physical competence, getting in shape. Your health is your foundation. Social competence. Cultivate a strong social circle of friends in person, not just on social media. I can be your friend all day long, but you need to be able to put your phone down and go and socialize with your real friends. Friends that respect you, and friends that you can rely on. Friends that you have respect for. You understand? You want to have hobby competence. Having interests and passions that are your own passions are very good. Be a man who is open to learning new things. And this is going to aid you in your capabilities to establish first dates. Because if you are on your way to a hobby this weekend and you invite her to entertain that hobby, even if she don't go, you're going to enjoy that hobby. You want to be Gibbs in the basement sawing on the boat. All them women was coming downstairs to come be with him with that boat. But when he got off from work, he went home and worked on that boat. He didn't give a damn if a female was there or not. You want to spend time with me? Sand the boat. You remember that? Every single time he had a female downstairs, it didn't matter how cute she was. He would give her some sandpaper. He would give her one of them tools, and he would have that female polishing his boat until the conversation was over. What was more important in that engagement? His hobby or her presence? He validated them while they were down there hanging out with him, but he did not devalue his priorities because they came down there to hang out with him. Having your own hobbies and your own interests are highly important. So let's say you, a museum guy. Let's say you, a beach guy. Let's say you, a movie guy. New movie coming out this month. You want to go see it in theaters? Hey, I was going to go watch such and such in the theater this week. You want to join? Yeah, sure. Then when the time comes, she's sending you a text message to cancel. You don't have to respond. You were going to the movie anyway. When she asked you the next day, I hope you weren't upset about the fact that I canceled. No, that movie was great. I had popcorn. I love the ending. This, that, and the third. Keanu Reeves, blah, 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 because it wasn't about her. You were going to the movie. If she wanted to join you, she could. That takes the desperation out of your offer. You're not trying to think of something to convince her to do with you. You're going to do something, and she's either going to come or she's not. So if you want to go to the Cheesecake Factory and she don't want to go, okay, that's where I'm going. So if you don't want to go, you can get out of my car. But if you're riding with me, that's where we're going. And if you're coming with me, you're not going to complain the whole time we're sitting there because I'll leave you here. You're going to complain about my car? Don't get in it. I'm not going to buy a more expensive car to make you smile, and I don't even know your middle name. The next thing you need to pay attention to is purpose competence. You must have a mission. And honest to God, we're going to cover this in the next week or two because Dylan brought this up. Special shout out to Dylan. There are some men who do not have a purpose in life, and they are reckless with their decision making. And we want to cover why that happens. But you have to have a mission. It is actually part of your survival as a man to have a mission in life, a purpose, a duty, something you strive for. Your career, a side project, a creative endeavor, whatever it is, you must have something that you are working towards on a regular basis that is bigger than yourself. So I'm just trying to lose weight. That's not what we're talking about right now. I'm trying to build this car from the ground up. I'm trying to redo the roof. I'm trying to add solar panels. I'm trying to go to Taiwan. I'm trying to get a promotion on my job. I'm trying to, beat the next level of fight night. Whatever your mission is, you need to find a goal. I'm gonna redo the carpet in the house. Whatever your goal is, you need to find that, and you need to be able to stick to that. And then when you're done with it, find you another mission. Never not have a forward-thinking plan. This is what I'm working on, and as I get close to finishing it, this is what I'm going to be working on next. Right? The next thing is going to be boundary competence or non-negotiable expectations for behavior. This is going to be a skill that has to be practiced. The skill of saying no. If y'all remember, was it One-on-One? I can't remember the show that was used to come on UPN, where your boy, he had the kids that would come up, one of the Wayne's brothers, the kids that would come up and always asking for stuff, and he would find all kinds of ways to say no. He never said no the same way twice on the show that I can remember. He would, and I think his wife was Regina Greer on the show. Uh, so them two, that couple, and they will always find creative ways to tell the kids no. You need to learn how to say no calmly and without apologizing. Not, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say no. You straight out, no, I'm not doing that. Respectfully, you can say it. I appreciate your offer, but I'm not doing that. Thank you for your idea, but I'm not doing that. Thank you. Or straight up, no, that's not happening. She tell you to pay for everything she touched at the mall because she told you she wanted to go shopping. Well, no, you asked if I could take you here. I brought you here. You did not ask me before I left the house if I was going to pay for it all. And had you asked me, I would have told you no. So now that we're here, we're at the register, pay for what you want so that I can take you home. She start wilding out, just go home. Leave her there at the register. I'm not paying for this because I said no. I'm not going to argue with you about it. You're not going to devalue me and belittle me over it in public. I'm not paying for this. So if you're not paying for this, I'm going to the car. That's it. And I'm leaving before her because she's not walking out with nothing that I got to pay for because they're not about to arrest me for shoplifting because I'm with her. It's not going to happen. Practice in small ways because a lot of times as men, we don't say no often enough. We offer, we volunteer. As Captain Save-A-Ho mentality, we volunteer to cover for stuff that we don't have to pay for. They don't make us. Women do not make men pay for things a lot of the times. Men instinctively volunteer to pay for stuff that men are not supposed to pay for. And we volunteer it so often that the woman that we offer to pay for makes it an expectation because we've always paid for it before. So stop it. Stop it. First thing you want to do is start practicing. No, I can't make it to that expensive dinner, but I'd love to go for a hike on Sunday. No, I'm not comfortable lending money to your friends. No, I'm saving for a big goal, so I'm cutting back on spontaneous trips. Every time you set a healthy, non-negotiable expectation, you're casting a vote for your own self-respect. And if the woman that you're talking to walks away because you set reasonable expectations, she has done you a monumental favor. Because how broke are men after we spend our entire relationship with the woman trying to please her? She took everything that we paid for. She's gone. We have to start over and we have to rebuild everything she left with. She ain't did nothing wrong when she took everything that she took. We bought it for her. That was gifts for her. No strings attached. The car, the house, whatever we bought for her, that is hers. So if she leave with that, that's hers. The failure was we offered that in the first place. For what? But if she walks away because you didn't do it, she did you a favor. She's revealing to you in those moments that her interest was conditional to your compliance to her. A relationship built on leverage isn't a relationship. It is a hostage negotiation. And a lot of times, as men, we are willing to allow ourselves to be there. So your willingness to let people walk away from you when you're not willing to put up with their bullshit is the ultimate source of power. When a woman is like, I ain't got to stay here, and your response is, I agree. She know that you ain't about that bullshit. That's a whole different scenario than, oh, don't leave. Because now you have to cow tip to make her stay. That's a bonus that she left early. Exactly. She start trying you at the register, it's a wrap, you know. She start trying you, like for example, you only gonna spend $50 in this restaurant. Remember that money talk? We went to Olive Garden. I was thinking about getting 2 for $25 because I wasn't planning on spending more than $40 at tonight's dinner. If it's 2 for $25, everybody's got a plate of food, and off of, I said 40, off of the remaining $15, each one of us get a drink, 2 drinks at the most. We should have been able to run $40. We should have been able to run $35 plus tip, where there's a $5 tip on the table, and we not go $40. So if I said I was thinking about doing a 2 for 25 so that we don't go over $40 for the night, that's all you willing to pay for? I ain't got nothing else to say. 2 for 25, make one to go. Because I'm getting the 2 for 25, but now I'm just getting both of them for me. And I'm going to leave your ass here. Special shout out to Salty. Fortnite tonight? No. We're talking about how we're going to we're going to get right tonight. So let's be clear. Following these new rules isn't about being cheap or selfish at all. It is about integrity, specifically your integrity as men. It is about self-respect, specifically your self-respect. It is about having the wisdom to know that a relationship built on a foundation of financial pretense is doomed to fail. Any relationship that is devoured off of pure convenience, convenience that you're getting laid and convenience that she's getting paid. When the convenience stops, so does the relationship die. She stops putting out, you were only dating her because she was putting out, you're going to go look for a woman that's putting out. You stopped paying when she was dating you because you was paying, she's going to start looking for a man that's paying. If she stopped putting out and you stopped paying, both of y'all are unhappy. Y'all were not together for authentic, genuine purpose. Y'all were there for the convenience of. Y'all probably hooked up because it was easier to pay for this apartment. Y'all stayed together for the sake of the kids. Then when the kids is 19 years old, y'all split up and go separate ways because y'all were trapped for the sake of the kids. But you got to understand that most of us grew up in that type of environment where the relationship between the adults wasn't healthy in the first place, and the kids grew up damaged as a result. So why live in the same house for the sake of the kids when you're going to live in a toxic relationship in front of the kids? That doesn't help the children. So you got to start setting these expectations in the beginning. The old way of dating forces men into a corner on a regular basis. And we complain about it, but we allow ourselves to do it. It makes the men feel like they have to perform financially to be worthy of love. Then the women are going to capitalize that and reinforce it on the men. This is a path that leads only to anxiety and resentment. Because women see men always paying on a regular basis, and women will assume that men are supposed to do that because that is a societal expectation, not her expectation. That is a societal expectation. You ask her why he's supposed to do it. Her response is because men always do it. They've always done it when they engaged her, not because she made them do it. They even at times didn't let her pay because that's what they always did. So she assumes that's how it's supposed to be. Not because she's a bad person, because we have conditioned ourselves and then conditioned the dating game, where the dating game conditions the new participants in the dating game to perform the way things used to be, and that shit ain't working no more. Okay? And we build resentment. The men are resenting the women because the women are taking all the men's money. The women are resenting the men because the men are treating the women like 304s and running through them and then trying to find a wife when you can't find a woman with less than 500 body count because all the men is hitting all the women because the men are spending money on the women. If you must sleep with me because I paid for you, every time a man buys a woman for something, that's a body count. How are you going to find authentic, traditional, family-oriented women if you're not cultivating that in the dating field? How are you going to find wife material when you're finding throw it against the wall material on a regular basis? How are you finding wife material when you are encouraging women to throw that ass in a circle? That's not wife behavior. You scroll through social media complimenting all of the most scantily clad outfits that you can find on social media. Your For You page is almost as bad as OnlyFans. And then these women who have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of men following them, think that's how they have to carry themselves in order to get attention from men. We condition the same dating field that we're not satisfied with. And ladies, y'all do the same thing because y'all are teaching the boys to not be authorities in their relationships. Do what the women say do. And all of the women in their 30s and 40s are dating men that were raised by women to do exactly what women don't like, which is put all of the responsibility on the woman. Because if the man that is listening to you and only submitting to you and asking you what you want and how you feel and this, that, and the third, and never making a decision, and that's pissing you off because he's always done what his mama told him to do and never challenged her because she taught him not to be a leader. That's a foundational flaw. Y'all got to teach y'all men, y'all got to teach y'all sons and y'all brothers how to behave as men. Probably find a responsible man and have that man do it so that these men can become the kind of men that y'all would actually date. Because if you don't cultivate your dating field, you're not going to find it. If you're dressing like you're easy, you're going to attract men that are looking for easy women. If you carry yourself like you're worth something, men are going to try to find out what you're worth. Change your social network by changing how you carry yourself. You are the company that you keep. So if half the girls in your group are hoes, stop hanging out with them because they're going to be hoish, and all the men that look at your group are going to think that you are hoish too. Even though you're not. You might be the only responsible woman in the group. Well, why are you the only responsible woman in the group? Why don't you have a group of responsible women around you? A red flag for men right now, a single woman with all single friends and all single family members that are women, that's a red flag because none of those women can keep a man. Which means that none of those women want to do what it takes to keep a man, not because they're not capable of it, because they don't want to put any effort to keep a man, which means that you're going to get a woman that is going to be confrontational in a relationship at some point. You get a woman that everybody's married or a widow, she comes from a family-oriented background. She is more likely to put effort into making your relationship work as opposed to going along for the ride. So going to meet the family is more important than the first night in the sheets. Seeing what her network looked like is more important than smashing in the bathroom in a nightclub. The new rules that we need to follow as masculine men offer freedom. The freedom to date authentically. The freedom to use your resources intellectually, not as a lure to bait females in, but as a lens to discern their character. The freedom to build a partnership on the bedrock of shared values and mutual contribution is one of the best foundations to have. It's not based on physical intimacy. It is not based on financial wealth, which means that if one of those things fall off in a relationship, the relationship is still solid. And that's highly important for men because eventually, guys, your sex drive is going to go down. Your mojo's not going to be there no more. You might need 3 little blue pills to keep from peeing on your shoes every day. Your priority, the older you get, the less you prioritize sex. The older she gets, the more she's going to prioritize the need for financial security. But if she's getting it from you, the less she's going to prioritize money. So instead of making that the fundamental catalyst of the relationship, why don't you find something that you guys can grow with and utilize that? The goal is going to be to shift your entire matrix of success in the dating field. It is not about impressing a woman who isn't right for you. Because why are you spending all this money to impress a person that you don't even know if you like or not? Yeah, you want to sleep with her, but you don't even know if you like her. You don't know if you like her attitude. You don't know if you like her voice over a long period of time. You just know that you're spending a bunch of money to sleep with her. Instead of doing that, the goal should be your own peace of mind. It should be the calm, centered feeling that comes from knowing that you are living in alignment with your own core values and building a life of stability and purpose. And if you find somebody that's going to do that with you, now you have a successful relationship. So remember this. I'm going to tell you, fellas, as much as women disagree, you are the prize. Your time, your energy, and your character, and your stability of life that you are working hard for 75% of your life to build, the assets in your life makes you an asset to her. That's one of the reasons why you are a prize, because she benefits from you beyond sex and the sheets. You want to protect your assets. Date in a way that honors your assets. Date accordingly. Okay? So, one more time, y'all, if this guide was helpful and you guys want more no-nonsense strategies for building a life of financial strength and personal freedom, if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you take that time to hit that subscription button, like tonight's show, because and then put something in the comment section. I want to hear from you in the comment section, even after the show is over. Which of the 7 rules that we went through today was the biggest eye-opener for you? I want y'all to tell me what y'all think, because I read each and every comment that comes into the comment section. He says spot on. So on my way out, I want to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I give y'all this information to help y'all become higher value men, because if you are capable of finding the things in your life that are inside of your control that you don't like, that you can change, you can effectively improve them, and then navigate around the things that are not inside of your control, ultimately giving you a better standard of life. And then, ladies, while this is a male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, you too can maximize this information by focusing on your long-term goals, on the things that you want to achieve in life, and then potentially stumbling across a person that has the same ambitions as you do, where y'all can work together to reach the life that you're trying to have. That is the truest foundations of happiness. With that being said, special shout out to the Battle Zone, special shout out to Salty, Steven. I really appreciate you guys for coming into tonight's show. Bro Logic for his stock options on silver. I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence